A regular meeting of the City Council was held in Council Chambers on Thursday, September 13th, 2018 at 7 p.m. for the purpose of transacting any and all business. Notice of this meeting was posted on September 11th, 2018 at 12:22 p.m. This meeting is being taped and is live on SATV. The only councilors absent that we have right now is Councilor Milo. Councilor President Gerard, that's me, presided. Councilor Fury moved to dispense with the reading of the record of the previous meeting. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. And now I request that everyone rise to recite the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilor Peterson. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so now we have public testimony for those who have not provided public testimony before. I will call out your name. You will come up to the podium. You will state your name and address for the record, and then you will state your comments, and you will state them to me. This is an opportunity for you to give your comments. This is not an opportunity for a back and forth. And I just ask that everyone follow what is on the agenda. If something is off topic, so like I know that there are some people here regarding the carnival, if it's something outside of what's in the mayor's letter to the carnival, I will have to ask you to stay on topic or sit down. If there's something that someone has already said that you were going to say, then they already said it. And then we will start with Gabriel Ciociola? Ciociola. And again, name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, my name is Gabriel Daniel Martin Ciociola. I live at 11 Winter Street in Salem, Massachusetts. I am the Vice President of the Salem Common Neighborhood Association, but speaking here in my personal capacity with no intent to state official views or positions of the SCNA. I want to address the items on the agenda regarding the mayor's letter to the Common Carnival. There was also a negative recommendation on Riley Plaza on the agenda. I have direct communication with one council member and the mayor before the mayor's decision. The mayor contacted me directly after the decision. The council member spoke on Facebook about the decision afterwards. I supported the carnival on the Common and I spoke in favor of it. I understand the decision not to have it there. What I do not understand is a decision to have it nowhere and to have no substitute or backup or alternative of any kind in place. I am not here to lightly impute any dereliction to the council. I assume that they are going to consider the information in the mayor's letter. I would call upon the council to give a moment's consideration, because a moment is all that's really needed, to the necessity of suitable amusements in the city for the six-figure crowds that come to Salem during October. Some alternative to the Fiesta Show's amusements, which we have relied on for several years, is required. The council is obviously not overly concerned with the cash money. Fiesta's only offered a direct cash benefit of $20,000 to $30,000. Salem is prospering as it never had since the days of the Almies department store. We can spare Fiesta's money, and we can spare a good deal more. Accordingly, I call upon the council to appropriate tonight an additional $70,000 of taxpayer money from the city treasury to be used by the mayor's office to contract for suitable non-mechanical amusements, diversions, and amenities to use around the city, including the Salem Common during haunted happenings. That works out to about $10,000 for each of 7 nights, consisting of Halloween on Wednesday and the 2 weekends preceding. I call upon my ward councilor, Christine Medore, to so move. I call upon any and all at-large councilors to second the motion, and I call upon the entire council to approve the appropriation unanimously. Thank you.
And just to be clear that there is no appropriation for this on the agenda tonight. If someone wanted to bring in a late file, then we could discuss it at the next meeting, but that's not on the agenda tonight, just so you know. So because that's not something that's on the agenda tonight, it's not something that we can automatically appropriate. So, no, the appropriation. There was no, She was talking about the other impact of removing the carnival will be the reduction of the $20,000 to $30,000 of additional revenue. She wasn't talking, the letter wasn't about appropriating money specifically towards this. So I just wanted to be clear that that is certainly something that maybe your counselor or someone, another member of the council could bring in and we could discuss it at a later meeting.
Well, I
So,
leave that to the council to work out the procedural niceties.
thank you very much. Next, we have Kathy Picone.
Good evening. I'm coming before you at this time to discuss an issue that you're going to be dealing with tonight, and that is the short-term rental.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
sorry.
We just need your name and address for the
Kathy
record.
Picone,
Thank you.
25 Beach Avenue,
Thank you.
Salem. The issue that you're going to be dealing with that I'm concerned about is the short-term rentals. And we have been at meetings, we've discussed things, and I think neighbors have come forward from various parts of Salem with their ideas. The one thing about Salem, I think, that is wonderful, we have many different neighborhoods, diverse, wonderful neighborhoods. And a successful neighborhood is really based on respect of one neighbor to another and so on. Some of the concerns that we had within our neighborhood, and I'm not against an Airbnb or short-term rentals, as long as this city can put together some ordinances and rules that reflect the respect that we all need to live together in our neighborhoods. One of the issues that I think is very large for us is the parking, and parking in Salem is terrible. I happen to come from the Willows, and parking is terrible there also. And so I think if you rent an Airbnb or a short-term rental and you've got one bedroom, I think there should be one parking space that is provided for that particular situation. So parking is a major issue. We're also, I think, all of us feel that owner occupancy in a short-term rental, as they have demanded, I think in Cambridge and in Boston, that's very important. It's so, if there's something that goes wrong, and we have had short-term rentals in our neighborhood, if something goes wrong, it's always nice to go to your neighbor who owns this property and to start a conversation, because it makes it, once again, respectful. It's a respectful way to deal with it. And I think that was another issue, the parking and the owner occupancy of the property. And a third thing I brought up at one of the OLLA meetings was I also would like something published that every citizen in Salem has in their hand that tells them what is this short-term rental? What are our rights? What do we do if there's a problem? Where do we go? If we can't get success through a neighbor communication, what is the process? And so those were some of the things I want you people or your committee to consider tonight when you are dealing with short-term rentals. The major word is respect, that we all respect the neighborhoods we live in. And people have done a beautiful job in our neighborhood with some of the short-term rentals. They've done a lovely job. Other instances have brought some distress. And so I'd like to see ordinances come forward and laws that make respect number one on the list. So, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jennifer Inglis.
Good evening. I am Jennifer Inglis. I'm at 75 Webb Street, and I am here tonight to talk about the letter canceling the carnival. I'm here as a mom and a working parent, and I'm frustrated in the decision to cancel the carnival. I certainly thought that the conversation at the Hawthorne the other evening was just that, a conversation and a forum to air complaints. I didn't realize that was going to become a mandate on what families in Salem thought. And so to hear after that the carnival is just gone now instead of relocated or continued conversation is really disappointing. I think that there are many vocal opponents to some fun things that happen in Salem, and those vocal opponents are drowning out the sounds of everybody else who wants to have fun in Salem. I have a 5-year-old, or almost 5-year-old, and the carnival is a part of our experience in Salem. It has been since before she was born. I was there very pregnant. I recognize that there may not be an opportunity to have the carnival come back this year in Salem, but I want to make sure that you all are prepared for next year. And I also ask respectfully that you try to save the kiddie carnival. I know that there may not be time between now and when decisions have to be made, but I ask on behalf of my daughter and my family and our friends who come, and then also I ask respectfully that you understand how difficult it is for parents to come to these meetings. Just dealing with signing up for this meeting tonight was challenging because I had to get my kid, I had to get over to the city hall to sign in, to say that I wanted to speak, then I had to figure out dinner. Now I'm here, she's over there, I'm solo parenting tonight, it's getting on bedtime. She's doing really well so far, but please recognize, that some of us use Facebook and Twitter to air some of our concerns, and we'd like for everyone to just be cognizant of the fact that we can't just drop everything and come to meetings. Thank you.
Next, we have Don Seifert.
Hi, I'm Don Seifert. I live at 10 Daniel Street, and I'm also here to talk about the carnival. When I told people that I was going to be here to talk about the carnival tonight, I was contacted by about 5 different people who all said, I can't go there tonight because I've got Carleton Elementary School open house, I've got a music rehearsal or so. So honestly, 5 different people sent me messages to you. I'm not claiming to speak on behalf of all 5 of them, but they all said the same thing, that they would like to see the council find a way to bring the carnival here this year. For a lot of the same reasons that the previous speaker just said. I've got kids. We look forward to it every year. I think that this is something that makes the carnival, makes the whole Halloween month something that's family friendly. And I worry that it degenerates into something that's all about kind of alcohol and bars without something like the carnival in the city every year. Obviously, I've got a teenage son who comes in here. He loves to do it. I've got a 5-year-old right over there, the same one, a different one. But for all the same reasons, for public safety, for the sake of enjoyment of everyone, all of the residents, I worry that you get a skewed view of the resistance to this by the fact of, as the previous speaker said, that a lot of people with kids are not able to come to these meetings. So I want to speak on behalf of a lot of people and let you know that a lot of them spoke to me. I'll read one quote from someone to say that, I'm a parent in Salem, lives within walking distance. Contrary to the opinions of many, I don't have the ability to get to evening meetings. Far from finding it tacky, the carnival is something my children look forward to, and we've made it part of our Halloween tradition every year. And in closing, I guess, I've also been a journalist for a long time. I've covered a lot of public meetings, and I found that it's never too late to make something happen. So I'd like to, I don't think that it probably is too late for this year. As one person pointed out, I call on the mayor to submit the ordinance change. I call on the council president to call a special meeting for Monday or Tuesday of next week to vote on the change so we can know which of our elected officials are in favor of the carnival and which aren't. And if passed, that's enough time to advertise prior to the September 27th regular meeting for final passage. And Salem parents are obviously paying attention now. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jeff Cohen.
He's not your dad. Jeff Cohen, 12 Hancock Street. I'm speaking in favor of the short-term rental ordinance that is in front of you. It is evolved in a very positive way. The ordinance as written addresses 3 very important points. It creates a level playing field. It creates fairness to protect the bed and breakfasts and inns that have invested a lot of their own money in regulations such as one off-street parking per room, fire equipment, the fact that they're all considered commercial properties and pay commercial property tax. It especially addresses neighborhood quality. This is very important. There have been a lot of issues, more than have been documented, that affect the individual neighbors. And at the last OLA meeting and the public hearing, a lot of this was addressed. I mostly want to address the diminished rental stock in Salem. Too many people in the last couple of years, as a result of investor class buying properties and removing the tenant one way or another, most of these people have not been able to find tenancy in the city. It's very expensive in Salem. And as you've heard me say many times, if you work in Salem, you should be able to live here. At the last OLA meeting, there was a hardship plea by some realtors. Well, many of you know that I do seminars for realtors, my day job. I've done seminars for over 1,200 realtors statewide, and I have a pretty big Rolodex of realtors. And I did an anecdotal survey of people who have sold properties or represented buyers and sellers in Salem. And to a person, they have told me that almost every single property that they have represented the seller has sold at more than the asking price. And I think you guys all know that. Someone puts it on the market, there's a bid on that property within the weekend. It is just common sense. Every property that is taken off the market, every rental property is one less property for working class, disabled, elder people to be able to rent. I have a tenant that just moved out. It's a a 3-bedroom in my 3-family. And I asked them, there are 3 men in their 20s, where they were moving. And they told me they found a cheaper place in Marblehead. So, having grown up in Marblehead, I was kind of stunned by that. So, the increased number of renters who are forced to move somewhere else, and in many cases, you know, if you're a waiter or waitress in Salem, for example, you're going to end up, because you don't have proper transportation, finding another job somewhere else. And this is really, I think it's incumbent on the city to do the right thing. I believe that this ordinance, as it evolves, addresses these issues. I think it's excellent. I encourage you to pass it, and I thank you very much, Council President.
Thank you. Next, we have Linda Stark.
Good evening. My name is Linda Stark. I live at 11 Church Street at the Essex Condos, Ward 2, downtown, the heart of the excitement. I'm here to talk about the proposal that was to be discussed tonight, but I think it's getting moved to committee, about issuing temporary October stickers for 7 condo buildings in the downtown. And I just want to let you all know that even though it's about 260 passes, in my building, not everyone even owns a car. In my building, only probably a small minority of people would need to utilize that on weekends when they can't get in the garage. I have 5 residents here tonight, one of whom is in the medical profession, and she has problems every October, even during the week. Right now, the Museum Place garage does fill up during the week. It's busy. So I just want you to think about that. We would prefer to have the monthly stickers so that if we can't get into the garage, we do have an alternative. I know the Church Street lot is supposed to be free for Salem residents, but I'll tell you, if the garage is full, the lot has already filled up because more people will park in the outside lot. So that's not really an option for us. I think I've heard that maybe the train station is an option. The other thing I heard that might be discussed at some point is $125 a month for a special spot in the Museum Place garage or the other garage just for the month of October. I've talked to some residents in my building and some of the other Derby Lofts people. They're really not in favor of that as an alternative because we already pay a large fee to park in the garage. And as I've said, I think it's not everyone that needs to have that extra sticker for October. Those of us that don't need to move our cars out on the weekends, we just stay put. But there are people in our building that work and need to get in and out for their work shifts or family obligations. So we really would like to see this ability to have stickers for all these condo associations downtown Salem. And I implore the counselors, please think yes sometimes instead of no. I was very disappointed the carnival went down. Very, very disappointed. Again, from what the other speakers said, you haven't heard from all the families in the city. You didn't hear a lot from the people that wanted it. You heard a lot from the people that didn't want it. So this parking sticker option, please consider giving it a try just for this year. And I don't think we're going to inundate all the side streets with 260 more cars. In my building, as I said, there's just some people that do need it. I don't know, the other buildings, probably just some people that need it. It is not going to be everyone that has a parking pass at these condo associations that are going to need this sticker. It's just a nice fallback so that when we get locked out of the garage, we could go look for a spot in any of those other streets. We might not find a spot either. Most likely we might not, but we have the option to try. And if we can't find it, we probably have to go down to the train station. So please consider it, please try, just 1 year and see how it works out. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have David Friedberg. Yes. So I have a letter from you. Did you want to read that, or did you want me to read that in the record? Or
Bullet points, and
Okay,
I understand
great.
that the city council each has
Fantastic.
a letter.
So just name and address for the record.
Yes, David Friedberg. I live at 57 Britannia Circle in Salem. Automatic lock. Just want to say that I'm a licensed broker for 38 years. I have been a realtor for 32 years. I am a former Realtor of the Year of the Greater Boston Association of Realtors, which had 5,000 members. I am also a former president of the Association of Realtors, and I speak in opposition to the short-term rental ordinance. I'm here in behalf of the North Shore Association of Realtors, and there are 100 real estate agents that practice in Salem, and I am speaking for them. As a premise, and in our Bill of Rights, if you will, we oppose, we promote personal property rights and those of private property owners. It's their property, and they should be able to do what it is that they can do within the law, zoning, etc. In banning non-owner occupied investor-owned properties from engaging in short-term rentals, the City of Salem, this proposed ordinance restricts the core rights of property owners to lease or rent their property on a short-term basis. In the cover letter accompanying the ordinance submission to the council, not mine, but the original, the administration acknowledges that the impact of short-term rentals on the availability of long-term housing, quote, appears to be minimal in Salem at this time. So before taking any action that would burden or restrict a property owner's right to engage in short-term rentals, the North Shore Association of Realtors recommends that the City Council seek further research and clarity to determine whether this ban is necessary. The obvious immediate effect of the ordinance would simply discourage prospective buyers, particularly purchasers of second homes, from investing in the community, which would have a detrimental effect on the overall housing market in Salem. Without evidence to support the assertion that short-term rentals have given rise to the limited housing stock in Salem, we do not believe that limiting private property rights is the solution to our present housing crisis in Salem and beyond. It was mentioned earlier that properties bought and used as short-term rentals sell for higher prices for a property, and that is true. And similar to a multifamily which is sold to someone who then converts to condominiums, each of those condominiums, the sale prices add up to more, even without any work, more than what the initial price for the three-family was. there is a limit to the number of short-term rentals or rentals in general that can be accommodated. There's just there's a certain supply, there's a demand, and when the demand outstrips, prices go up. When the supply is too high, then prices will moderate, and that includes the sale price of properties. So there may be an initial impact, it should not be severe. In addition, I respectfully submit that the City Council may not have contemplated the following when drafting the ordinance. Thankfully for the proposed ordinance allowing elderly homeowners to gain income from short-term rentals, which will better enable them to keep and maintain their home, that's been a concern of ours, that people that can't afford, we want them to be able to stay. What the proposed ordinance does not do, and what is not contemplated, is allowing an elderly homeowner, or any homeowner, the ability to have unlimited short-term rental income if, for instance, they have moved to an assisted living or a nursing care facility, whether it's temporarily or if it's permanent. The reason the proposed ordinance wouldn't allow them is because they are then considered investors by not living in the property and renting it short-term. Another scenario that may not have been considered is that there have been and continue to be buyers that will downsize in 2 to 5 years, at which time they move in. In the period before they own or occupy, they will rent it. And yes, a lot of people just rent it for the long term, such as a year, and it's more convenient. However, they will earn more by renting short term versus a 1-year rental. Also, if they do it on a short-term basis, they have an opportunity to use the property for themselves and enjoy Salem and spend money in Salem. Frankly, it could be even furnishing their property and using the cheese shop and anything else that's nearby. And I mentioned the cheese shop because at 51 Lafayette Street, which is known as Derby Lofts, I have encountered there have been a number of times when I've encountered buyers who are looking to do exactly what I said. They're downsizing from Swampscott, Marblehead, or somewhere on the North Shore. Those are particular people that we've encountered. And one of the things that they would be concerned about is not being able to do their rental on a short-term basis, because it is known that that is something that would gain them more income and give them an opportunity to use it. To address the concerns of the hotels, the inns, and bed and breakfasts, that it's unfair that short-term rental properties don't have to pay a room tax. As you know, the City Council passed, I believe in January, the Home Rule petition, which was submitted by the mayor to tax short-term rentals. The only thing holding up that approval, I shouldn't say the only thing, one thing that's holding up that approval is that the state has taken up a similar issue, and until it is either turned down, then Salem has to just wait. But it has been approved, so that's a very positive thing. As I mentioned before, properties bought as short-term rentals that would sell for higher prices. I do know of a circumstance, which I think was alluded to by the person who lives on Beach Street, or Beach Ave, that there was a property that was available, it sold to someone who absolutely intended to rent it on a short-term basis. And that neighborhood is very close, and it's very important for them to have that kind of community, and that would be a disruption. Having the inspection that has already been passed for $50 and requiring an annual inspection is going to maintain the property at a certain level. Yes, it's nice for neighbors to be able to ask another neighbor who owns the property to please take care of the property and the people who are there, but there's nothing to stop that neighbor to going over to a short-term rental tenant and saying something, and also telling the landlord, or if it's really drastic, to call the police. And that is something that, if there are a number of infractions, I think that there would be a lot of serious action against that homeowner. I thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Next, we have Mary Roderick.
Good evening. My name is Mary Roderick, 7 Sutton Avenue, Salem Willows. My husband and I live in the Willows neighborhood. We had a short-term rental home next door to us for 2+ years. The owners were wonderful. They upgraded their property and landscaping. We had their contact numbers. On the whole, we had only a few problems with their renters. For that time, we had no true neighbors. They were just people passing through on vacation. Keep in mind that most of the renters are on vacation, and they do tend to party more than, because they're relaxed, have cookouts more often, but my main concern is how our neighborhood could drastically change with non-owner occupied units. The Willows is a perfect area to set up a rental business, and I consider it a business. We are on the water with beaches. We have a wonderful park with a pier. There is an amusement and arcade area with restaurants, including Hobbs's, which makes the best popcorn around. Winter Island Park is another gem in our area. We are a very close-knit community. We know our immediate neighbors and also most of the other residents in the neighborhood. We have many events for our residents throughout the year. We have a community club, and it works out wonderfully for our neighbors. If our R1 neighborhood is not exempted from non-owner occupied units, investors will be sure to buy up as many homes as possible to rent as short-term rentals. To me, these are businesses in an R1 area. We would not like the Willows to become a summer rental resort. We live in a wonderful neighborhood. Please vote to keep non-owner occupied units out of our neighborhood. By the way, the rental home next to us was sold, and we are very fortunate to have a wonderful family as neighbors and friends. Thank you very much.
Next, we have Richard Roderick.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. My name is Dick Roderick, and I live at 7 Sutton Avenue, down the Willows. This is our second home down the Willows, and I can't think of living anywhere else. We have lived in different areas of the cities, Toronto for a period of time, but we always came back to the Willows. Our ties go back to the 1940s, where my father was a lobsterman at Dunn Lobster in Juniper Cove many, many years ago. What makes the Willows so unique is the location, but more importantly, the people. There are families there that are multi-generational, and I'll call just a few to mind. The Wilsons, the O'Briens, the Griffins, the Morencis, the Picones. All of these people have lived there not just for 5 or 10 years, but for different generations. They were born there, they stayed there, they grew up there, and now they're still there. And it's just a great, great place to live. It's also, as I'm sure all of you are aware, an R1 neighborhood, and in an R1, businesses are not allowed. I really ask that you keep non-owner occupied Airbnbs or short-term rentals out of our neighborhood. What makes it so unique and so attractive to the investors and to people who want to have short-term rentals are the people that live there now, and also the location and the attractions, as my wife just mentioned, especially Hobbs Popcorn. So I ask you, I implore you, do not change that to satisfy a few people who would do well by having short-term rentals. We have no objection to owner-occupied short-term rentals, but you know, a house sold a while ago on Island Avenue, they did it over, and it was just listed yesterday or the day before, $4,000 a month. $4,000 a month. I mean, that's not a short-term rental, but it tells you that the area is becoming more important to investors. And while we want our property values to go up, we don't want it to be out of sight so that the people that grew up there and are still growing up there can't come back and live there. That's what makes the area so attractive. And as my wife mentioned, we also live next door to an Airbnb, excuse me. And while we didn't have a lot of difficulty, it felt that if we had one or two more on the same street, we would be living on a street of strangers. And that's just not acceptable in a town like Salem. But we shouldn't have to live with people that we don't know, or, by the way, do you have a match? The owner didn't leave us any. Or, do you have this, and where can I go to eat? And by the way, what's new in town? That isn't the town that Salem is, and it certainly isn't the area that the Salem Willows is. So again, I implore you, I thank you for your consideration. I know on the initial proposal that R1s will not allow non-owner occupied, and I ask that it remain so, and I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. And finally, we have Gary Gill. Gary, you just have written down here events. Is this related to the carnival? Thank you.
So my name is Gary Gill, Ward 3, 12 Pope Street. When I first came to the council, when we first had the meeting and the discussion about the carnival right smack downtown, my main concern with the first comment that I made was safety. And that was not only me, that was Injami, who owns Steve's Market as well. It was a great idea, but as you all know now, the city council and everybody knows that, and Madam President, knows that it was too congested and therefore unsafe for the kids to be late at night, some without parents, in that area with traffic and everything else that goes along with the carnival. To put it up, to set it up, to tear it down, people hanging out over the weekends. We really do need the carnival because since I've been here since 1982, the carnival's always been a part of the tradition of the city of Salem for the kids. And it's not all about the adults. Even though we're all dressed up, having fun, getting drunk, what about our kids? What about our families? What about the unit that really holds Salem together? I came up with an idea. Sunday night, there was 12 of us at dinner, and we all agreed the same thing. And then the more that I kept talking about it, which I'm going to Renus to the Chamber of Commerce tomorrow and present it to him. A couple of years ago, as you all know, I'm Gigi. I stand out on the corner in front of Rockefellers and collect about $3,000 for our downtown Christmas tree that I've been doing for 8 years. All on my own time, all volunteer, and I give as much money as that I can to the city of Salem without buying myself dinner or a taxi home or something. So therefore, it's a gift from me, from my heart, to the city of Salem for the last 8 years. So when I'm going to tell you the idea that I have, everybody I told the ideas to so far thinks it's a great idea. The last couple of years that I've been out standing in front of Rockefellers collecting the money, I hear everything. I hear all the nasty comments, I hear all the ideas, I hear everything from every visitor that comes year after year, and actually they are the ones that give me the big money for the bucket to do the tree. The ones from New York, Long Island, New Jersey, Philadelphia, all over. So I have them coming back regularly year after year for the last 8 years. So they're committed to me and committed to the city of Salem to where they're buying our downtown Christmas tree every year, our visitors during the month of October. And I created that because I went to Kim a long time ago, 8 years ago, and said, do we have a budget for a Christmas tree? She said, no, we don't. So the very first Christmas tree that I bought with my partner, we put in front of the Peabody Essex Museum, and that was the first one. We only had lights and bows on it because that's all we could afford. But now here we moved it down to right smack downtown. It's much more visible, and it's gotten better, and it's gotten bigger. As you know, all of you city council people and everybody knows, the crowd is there, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So the last couple of years with Ellen Tatoski, I told her that Pickering Wharf wants to be more involved in the Halloween tradition as far as Essex Mall. They want more of those vendors down towards the waterfront. And if it's Pickering Wharf in the courtyard, whatever, but they want some of that business. And as we know, 8 years later now, here we are, we only got one street that is jam-packed tent after tent after tent after tent, then the crowd. Only on several different blocks long. So if we take and think of it this way, bring the Point neighborhood that we're just promoting, all the art and all this, the walkable tour with the headphones and everything, think about this, please. If we split up some of the vendors on Essex Mall and spread some of that out down Congress Street, past the hotel so people can get in and out of the hotel, get in and out of the bank, get in and out of the new antique table restaurant, and start from the bridge down with more vending tables of tents all the way down to the park to Salt and Stall School, and put the carnival right there with the backdrop of the water behind you with all the beautiful lights and everything. It'll be really pretty. It'll be a way to show off the Point more. Have the two restaurants that are down on the Point, part of the vendors on that to represent that community, and then have people with the families and kids and anybody else that want to do the tour for the art itself, have that ability to do that, but have a clear vision all the way down to the carnival, safe, lit, everybody feels together. And the lighting, what I'm talking about, is from all the tents of the vendors and stuff like that. But also have police detail there and everything, but have it a clear focal all the way down to the park, to the waterfront, to Salt and Stall School, on the back half where the ballpark is and all that, and have the carnival there. I'm going tomorrow to Renus at the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm going to present that to him, and I'm going to present it to Kylie with Salem Main Streets as well. It really is a good idea, and everybody can be a part of it down at the waterfront, and we can still promote the Point neighborhood and the art there and everything. We also suggested the dog park, and then I also heard about the web parking lot for the public parking. We thought about that, getting off the train, coming down the hill and going there. It could be feasible on the dog park or web, but you know, there's nothing else around there to make it look really pretty. I think this is a really great opportunity and a great idea if you guys really think about it. And it's not about the adults. Remember that. It's only about the families and the kids, because it is Halloween. You all were kids. You all got dressed up, collected candy and all that when you were little. Why take that away from these kids? As that family talked over there, she almost lost it, because it's part of that kid's life. It seems like for the last 5 years for that little kid. So that kid is disappointed. So you're not making us unhappy. You're making little people like that unhappy. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And just so the record reflects that I believe all counselors should have a number of emails that we received that the city clerk printed off. Just going to mention who they were from, that we have one from Benjamin Little, have one from former Officer Bob Callahan. We have Jennifer Inglis, Don Seifert, Susan Moulton, and Kathleen Miller. Okay. So we are going on to hearings. None. Appointments and reappointments. Councilor Fury, will you come up?
Please.
Thank you. Appointments and reappointments.
Held from the last meeting, the mayor's appointment of Patrick Shea, 31 Highland Street, Salem, to the Zoning Board of Appeals with a term to expire on May 1st, 2019.
Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
On discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. We're actually very fortunate that Mr. Shea wants to serve on the Zoning Board of Appeals. He is a lifetime resident of Salem. He grew up right around the corner from me on Dearborn Street, so many of us probably know his parents. He also owns professional roofing contractors. He is not only, of course, a graduate of Salem High School, but he also has a bachelor's degree in economics from Assumption, a master's in banking and finance from Suffolk. So in speaking with him, I know that he's very interested in, and we are very fortunate to have him as someone who does want to serve on our ZBA, and I believe he mentioned that he used to work for Peter Kopolis, so I think that that's going to be a great reunion. So I hope that everyone also unanimously supports this as well. Thank you.
Any further discussion? If I may?
No, yes.
Question. Thank you very much.
Do you want to finish it now? No, okay. Councilor Fury.
Yes, please, Madam President. I concur highly. Tonight, we heard a number of speakers before talking about neighborhoods and people, what makes Salem the best, and to live and to be, have a pride and joy in living in Salem. The best part is the people. And the Shea family is synonymous with public service. His uncle Dave served in the mayor's office as the assistant to Mayor Hamilton for many, many years. His father was on the Park and Recreation Commission. His mom is very involved in the schools. The entire family is involved. Tim Shea, his uncle, owns a new hotel in downtown Salem, in the mall. So public service is synonymous to the Shea family. I grew up on English and Allen Street and was a part of that neighborhood when the Shays were growing up. And what Kathy Picone and others have said along the way this evening, neighborhoods, neighborhoods, neighborhoods. And people make it public service. And sincerely, boards and commissions like the ZBA that Patrick is about to volunteer for, and like the ZBA and other commissions, they're the wind beneath our wings. They make us shine. They make the mayor shine, make us all shine as a city. They serve, they bring their expertise, their professionalism, their commitment, and their resume. And Patrick's resume, wow. Assumption College and a master's degree from Suffolk University. Wow, that's amazing. To bring their voluntary experience and time towards like the zoning boards. Many of us attend the zoning board to the city councils. And I think Patrick's going to be a shining star on that. And to have his business experience, his family experience, wow. Kathy, I agree entirely with you. We're so lucky to have neighborhoods like Salem and Salem Willows. I live in Ward 6, not too far from where Patrick owns his own home. And so we're very lucky in Ward 6 to have Patrick, and he'll be an asset to serve on the zoning boards of appeal. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Counselor Dibble.
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez.
Yes.
Counselor Flynn.
Yes.
Counselor Fury.
Yes.
Counselor Medore.
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Milo. Oops, sorry. Counselor Peterson.
Yes.
Counselor Sargent.
Yes.
Counselor Turiel.
Yes.
And Counselor Gerard.
Yes. On the matter of the mayor's appointment of Patrick Shea to the Zoning Board of Appeals, we have 10 councilors voting, 10 in the affirmative, 1 absent, and none in the negative. The matter carries. Councilor Fury.
Point of personal privilege, Madam President, me, to allow Mr. Shea, if he wishes to speak at the podium here, to give recognition and respect to him. Thank you.
Thank you. And Patrick, if you wanted to come up.
Yeah, I just want to be brief, and I'm flattered by the kind words, and I just wanted to say thanks to everyone involved, and I'm looking forward to serving a city that's been so good to me. Thank you.
Further appointments and reappointments.
The mayor's appointment of Philip Koch to the Sustainability, Energy, and Resiliency Committee with a term to expire on December 3rd, 2018.
Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move this be held under the rules.
Councilor Terrell moves that this be held under the rules. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's appointment of Deborah Grail to the Licensing Board with a term to expire on December 3rd, 2021.
Councilor Medore.
Madam President, I move for this to be held under the rules.
Councilor Medore moves that this be held under the rules. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's appointment of Rebecca English to the Historical Commission with a term to expire on March 1st, 2019.
Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this be held under the rules.
Councilor Peterson moves that this be held under the rules. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's appointment of Claudia Schubert to the Salem Housing Authority Board with a term to expire on July 19th, 2023.
Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move this be held under the rules.
Councilor Terrell moves that this be held under the rules. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's appointment of David Gauthier to the Cable Television and Technology Commission with a term to expire on September 13th, 2020.
Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Madam President. I also move that this be held under the rules.
Councilor Flynn moves that this be held under the rules. Further appointments and reappointments.
Be the mayor's appointment of Tyler Carlton to the Scholarship and Education Committee with a term to expire on June 1st, 2019.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this be held under the rules.
Council McCarthy moves that this be held under the rules. Further appointments and reappointments.
The mayor's appointment of Attorney D to the Board of Health with a term to expire on July 21st, 2019.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move this be held under the rules.
Council McCarthy moves that this be held under the rules. Further appointments and reappointments.
Via the mayor's reappointment of Gregory St. Louis to the Conservation Commission with a term to expire on September 13th, 2021.
Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Councilor Dibble moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Under discussion?
No, this one's really straightforward. The Conservation Commission and Mr. St. Louis, they're doing a wonderful job, and I just recommend that he be reappointed.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Dibble's motion for confirmation by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Dibble.
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Fury.
Yes.
Councilor Madore. Yes. Councilor McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilor Peterson.
Yes.
Councilor Sargent.
Yes.
Councilor Torrio.
Yes.
And Councilor Gerard.
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of the mayor's reappointment of Gregory St. Louis to the Conservation Commission, we have 10 councilors voting, 10 in the affirmative, none in the negative, and 1 absent. The matter carries. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of Carly Naik to the Salem Public Art Commission with a term to expire on September 13th, 2020.
Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. Now I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Councilor Madore moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Under discussion?
Briefly, Carly's been doing a great job, and she's only been on the commission for a few months, and so I would like to reappoint her to continue her good work.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Madore's motion for confirmation by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Dibble.
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Fury.
Yes.
Councilor Madore.
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilor Peterson.
Yes.
Councilor Sargent.
Yes.
Councilor Torrio.
Yes.
And Councilor Gerard.
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of the mayor's reappointment of Carly Naik to the Public Art Commission, we have 10 councilors voting, 10 in the affirmative, none in the negative, 1 absent. The matter carries. Communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $332,225.08 be approved within the Retirement Stabilization Fund Vacation Sick Leave Buyback account to be expended for the fiscal year 2019 contractual buybacks for a list of police officers.
Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Terrio moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I also move for adoption.
Councilor Terrio moves for adoption. Under discussion?
Thank you. Briefly, Madam President, this is a large number of officers who all came on at roughly the same time, about 25 years ago, and are all leaving at about the same time now. And because of prior contractual arrangements, there's a large sum of money involved in their, buybacks. This is with newer contracts. We don't have this kind of hit when people leave, but this is money that they've worked for under contract and they've earned. And I know and am friends with a number of these people, and I wish them all the best.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to take a brief moment, and also, as the Ward 5 Councilor alluded to, I want to just recognize...
I'm sorry, hang on. Sir, is that going to stop? Okay. Is there any way to shut it off? Oh, perfect. Thank you. Sorry, Councilor McCarthy.
That's all right. I just want to take a moment and just recognize the names of the people on this list. I mean, I was fortunate enough to marry a very lovely woman and move to the city of Salem, and I call the city of Salem my home now, and I've gotten to know the gentlemen and the ladies and gentlemen on this list over the last 25 or so years, and they are some fabulous individuals who've done a fabulous service to the city of Salem, and I wish them all the best in their retirement. And I just think that the police department as a whole, as they did 25 years ago when these guys filled the shoes, I'm sure that as we are right now, we're filling the shoes, but there are some very big shoes to fill on this list, and they'll be sorely missed. And I just want to recognize and thank them for their service.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to echo the good Ward 1 councilors'
what he said about these officers. I got to work side by side with many of them. I want to thank them for their commitment and their dedication to the city. I think we have the best police department on the North Shore, and this is well-deserved and well-earned, and I want to wish them a happy and healthy retirement. God bless.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councillor Turiel's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $20,000 is hereby appropriated from the receipts reserve funds listed below to the Department of Public Services burial account in accordance with the recommendation of the mayor.
Councillor Turiel.
Thank you, Madam President. Move for suspension of the rules.
Councillor Turiel moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Councillor Turiel.
Thank you, Madam President. I also move for adoption.
Councillor Turiel moves for adoption. Under discussion.
Briefly, Madam President, this is a routine transfer of taking the money that's been paid in for lots and using it to perform burial services. We do this periodically throughout the year.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councillor Turiel's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order in the sum of $3,557.13 to be approved within the Retirement Stabilization Fund Vacation Sick Leave Buyback account to be expended for the fiscal year 19 contractual buyback for Joyce Stewart, parking garage employee, in accordance with recommendation of the mayor.
Councillor Turiel.
Thank you, Madam President. Move for suspension of the rules.
Councillor Turiel moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Councillor Turiel.
Thank you, Madam President. I also move for adoption.
Councillor Turiel moves for adoption. Under discussion.
Yes, this is for Ms. Stewart, who worked in our garage for a number of years, and this is her retirement. We wish her all the best.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councillor Turiel's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order to accept the donation from Moose Lodge number 218 totaling $2,100. These funds will be deposited into the Police K-9 Donation Fund in accordance with the mayor.
Councillor Turiel.
Thank you, Madam President. Move for adoption.
Councillor Turiel moves for adoption. Under discussion.
Yes, thank you. Madam President, this is something that has been a pet cause, and there was no pun actually intended, of moose for a number of years. There, and the work that Rosemary O'Connor, who's sitting right here, has done over the years has both enabled us to fund acquiring our K-9 officers, training them, buying equipment. They hold events, they do fundraising to help keep that going. And this is yet another one of many generous contributions that they have made, and Ms. O'Connor has worked on over the years since we got our K-9 Corps in the first place. So thank you as always, and it's wonderful that we provide the service, and now we're a leader on the North Shore in this.
Thank you. Councillor Fury.
Madam President, you and I, Madam President, had the opportunity to attend the neighborhood meeting of the Ward 6 Association at the Moose the other night, and Rosemary is the shining star of the city of Salem. We're lucky to have Rosemary to be so active in the Moose and so active in the Ward 6 Association. She makes us all shine. And that night, we had Chief Butler, and Chief Adair, Chief Tucker, and now Chief Butler. So appreciative of the actions and the time you've spent to donate $2,000+ to the K-9 patrol. You make us shine. It's indispensable to their service in the city of Salem. Some of the dogs go out to the North Shore. They provide the safety network for the officers in harm's way. They go in harm's way. In fact, Councilor Sargent was nice enough, when one of the dogs passed away, we had a moment of silence about the dogs. And they were part of our family, they're part of the police family. And Rosemary's going to be there doing the haunted happenings. We talked about haunted happenings tonight. She'll be there on her spot, asking for donations and sweaters and t-shirts and other things on behalf of the police department to allow some money to be spent for all the dogs. And she is a great ally. She's well respected. The police force was there that night. And it gives you goosebumps to have that loyalty and support from the community, from the Moose, which has done an amazing job over the years for charity. And Rosemary is our shining star, our angel, sincerely. And we need more living angels to give us what we have in the city of Salem. Thank you much, Rosemary, and thank you to the Moose, and thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councillor Flynn.
Thank you, Madam President. I would also like to thank the Moose Lodge and Rosemary O'Connor for what she has done for public safety and for the city of Salem. I believe she is what Salem is all about. I have tremendous respect for her, and we are very, very lucky to have you in our city. Thank you so much for what you do for the police, the fire, and everyone else in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Terrell's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? That carries. Mayor's informational page.
We have a letter from the mayor regarding the carnival in October.
Are we waiving the reading?
Please.
Okay, we're waiving the reading. Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for this to be received and filed.
Councilor Madore moves that this be received and filed. Is under discussion or any discussion?
Sure.
Okay.
Discussion. We've been talking about this for quite a few months now, and I understand that the location before us is the Salem Common, and I do not oppose the carnival at all. I do feel that we still have time and the opportunity to look for an alternative location. I don't think this is the end of our conversation, but because of my own constituents' concerns in Ward 2, specifically around the Common, I cannot support this location. But I would like to urge my colleagues to maybe give more ideas, talk to their constituents. I know we've reviewed a really long list of alternative sites. Any ideas that's been brought up, including Gary's, we've thought about, and many were ruled out. But I do think there are other options that we can still look at, and because I cannot support the location, I would just like to say that my colleagues should consider the safety benefit that the carnival provides, and overrule my decision or my position on the location itself. If it does come before us that we need to have council action on a specific location, think of the safety aspect, but for the Salem Common location itself, I just cannot support it currently. So that's where I stand, and thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I have to agree with the Ward 2 councilor that I would like to see the carnival somewhere in and around greater downtown. I'm wondering if a compromise can come up with the Ward 2 councilor, we talked about it earlier, in allowing the kiddie carnival that's been going on for some 15 odd years, maybe longer, I'm not sure how long, and it's been done pretty safely on the Common. If the neighbors and the association and the Ward 2 councilor would like to see that continue, is there a mechanism that we can allow that to continue this year?
Thank you. I will say that because the mechanism that is before us is the ordinance, that if we allow one type of mechanical on the Common, we can't discriminate against another type of mechanical. So we would have to have said yes to mechanicals in order to get the kiddie carnival on there, which I mean we still potentially could do, but really we can't discriminate against one carnival in order to allow another type of carnival. So we would have to come up with another solution for that. But thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Madam President. My concern also, I had to express that I was in favor of having some type of carnival. It's a tradition for Salem, and I think that's alleviate not only the congestion that we have, but also it's a safety issue too that's very, very, very handy. However, I think that we need to continue to find different places. I have approached one of my friends and asked me if it's possible to have this carnival at the Palmer Cove with some type of shuttle to bring people down. I know it's far away from downtown, but I think that we need to try just to keep it alive and see how it go after. Maybe give it a try 1 year, and maybe the same way that it was proposed, like a tryout. I know must be some type of planning that need to be done, some type of maybe investigation, but I think that's the right place to do it, and at least have something so we can alleviate some of the congestion and some of the safety issues that we mentioned and that we hear from so many people concerned. That's my proposal, just in case.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Fury.
Madam President, as a dean of the city council for 32 years, 22 years in the city council, Salem is a city of neighborhoods. we talked about the Salem Willows and the Airbnb situation. There shouldn't be one neighborhood versus another neighborhood. One neighborhood recently stood up in front of the city council over meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting, FW Webb. I strongly disagree with what happened. But it was a neighborhood that spoke up, said, hey, we're a neighborhood, we don't want an addition to FW Webb. And the Common Neighborhood Association stood up at the Hotel Hawthorne recently and stood up and saying, not in our neighborhood, it would impact the neighborhood. So I think we have to take a step back, City of Salem, and not have one neighborhood versus another neighborhood. One neighborhood is more selective, so on, more vociferous, more outspoken. We're all neighborhoods. The Salem Willows, the Point section, all neighborhoods. So I sincerely hope that we come to a compromise for the City of Salem's sake, for the family's sake, for the children's sake. For the children's sake, that we're just here. I think we all have to see Halloween through the eyes of children. And people come from all around the world. And I work at the PBD Essex Museum as a security guard, and people come from all around the world on Halloween to the PBD Essex Museum and all the opportunities and privileges we have. If you go out tonight, you'll see some of the tours taking place tonight in the City of Salem. How lucky we are. Most cities and towns would give their right arm to be a resident of Salem, all year round. And Haunted Happenings is our shining star, is our Mardi Gras. And it should be an opportunity that we value, not putting one neighborhood versus another neighborhood. Letters to the editor that we've seen lately have been very demeaning to neighborhoods. We're a city of neighborhoods, and we should strengthen our neighborhoods. And I think we can come to resolve before this Halloween's up to have something on the common, elsewhere, maybe down in the Point section, to make Halloween come alive for the family. And the family's always first in the City of Salem. And we grow up, we should never, as a teacher for 40 years, elementary school, we should never forget what Halloween is. We should never forget what Christmas is through the eyes of a child. So sincerely, I hope we come to a compromise. The Mayor's office and Chamber of Commerce's and maybe other agencies can come together. We need something in downtown Salem to make it friendly. We don't want roving bands of people moving around with nothing to do. We need activity, we need enjoyment and pleasure. So I hope we come to a compromise sooner than later. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Fury?
Please. Thank you. My pleasure. Councilor Gerard, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. When this first came up, when the mayor first mentioned it to me, I want to say it was like 2 or 3 months ago, that I said, hey, why not Leslie's Retreat? I mean, that's perfect. It's kind of outside a little bit, and I feel like that Haunted Happenings, we're very fortunate that, and especially from my time working downtown at Pamplemousse and Salem Cycle and all around that, we've really grown Haunted Happenings. And growing up in Marblehead and living in Marblehead when Haunted Happenings really started, and it wasn't, you didn't, how do I put it, that it wasn't always the safest to come to Salem for Halloween. It was just overwhelming and it was out of control. I remember after I had moved here and taking the train home from Boston, and my train was stopped between North Station and Chelsea because there were a group of people that got on the train in Chelsea and talking about how they were going to go get in a gang fight up in Salem. And so the train in front of me got stopped to remove those people. And so we've gone from having double-digit arrests to having single-digit arrests. And also, what I've heard from people about the carnival, that actually, as soon as the news put out their article about it, my nephew immediately texted me and he said, Auntie, why do the city councilors hate Haunted Happenings? And I was like, what? No, that is not what happened. But a 16-year-old is saying that was one of my favorite parts of the whole Halloween thing, that's what he likes. And in speaking with friends of mine that volunteer in the info booth, that they say over and over again that one of the most common things that people ask for in the info booth is, where's the carnival? So in having all of this, and even prior to speaking to my nephew and everything, I was in favor of it being down at the Common, that it made sense to try it for a year. and I'm disappointed that it's not going to go forward. I think it's really a shame that it ends up hurting families. And so and I know I've mentioned it to the mayor numerous times at this point, but I don't know, maybe other people can give her some pressure that, with Leslie's Retreat, and I swear I'm almost done, that with Leslie's Retreat, you're not far from the T Station, you're not far from Universal Steel lot, you're not far from other lots, and, we talk about how the band asks for, to use the Universal Steel lot to generate some funds, and so then we also have the T lot there, and it's so close to everything that, as I was saying, Haunted Happenings has really grown, and it's gotten really crowded, that if we spread out a little bit, and where Leslie's Retreat it's not really close to anything so much. I mean, you've got some good distance between the nearest houses on both sides of the river that it would be, actually it's on one side of the river, but it's far enough away that it would have people go out a little bit, but it would still allow for the carnival to happen, just to have this group. I mean, you're talking a group of 14 to 20-year-olds that have nothing to do, and they don't want to go to the museums, they don't want to go on a tour, even though the tours are great, and our museums are great, and the escape rooms and the haunted houses are great, but they don't want to do what mom and dad are doing. So we need to have something, so I strongly encourage everyone to hopefully come up with something else and come up with it quick, because we need something desperately. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. Gosh, as much as I didn't mind the carnivals when I was a kid, didn't like all the rides, but I've never seen a carnival given so much credit for good things and so much credit for bad things that might happen if it's not here. I mean, I think it's fine, but I mean, if we're going to have a carnival, we had 4 possible spaces, 4 spots that were proposed. We had meetings about them. 2 had city ordinance against them. So we decided to have meetings for the first one with the city ordinance against it, and then the second one with the city ordinance against it, and we haven't considered the 2 that don't have a city ordinance against them. Riley Plaza, I think, was absolutely ridiculous because it was at the end of the city with 7 lanes of road in between it. Getting to and from the carnival would have been a carnival ride in itself. It would have been dangerous. The second one is the Common, and growing up around the Common, I saw the damage that the last carnival there did with the heavy equipment. And some is obvious, and you see it the next week, it gets fixed, but you don't see the residual damage when springtime comes and you can't run your sprinklers because all of the sprinkler lines have been crushed. And just down the street we have the Elmy's parking lot. Just as much an open space as the Common, but no grass, no sprinkler system, hot top, much easier to clean up, a large open space, not with a 2, 3, 4 lane road all the way around it, right in the middle of downtown. You put a stage, you park on it every day, and I've seen this in St. George, Bermuda, a nice parking lot at the cruise ship terminal. They have no parking one day, put a stage up, have British bands playing, the next day they're back to parking again. The cleanup's very easy. It's a lot easier to clean up a hot top parking lot than it is Salem Common. To resod, replant, redo the sidewalks in some cases, and redo the sprinkler system. The cleanup on a place like that would be very minimal. And I just don't understand why we didn't consider that. We might lose some parking revenue, but you can't have your cake and eat it too. If it's that much of a safety concern and we need it for that much safety, wouldn't we give up a little bit of parking revenue? We just spent $650,000 on the senior center. Money well spent. If we only made $15,000 instead of $30,000 by having it on a parking lot, would that be such a bad price to pay for public safety? So I think this has been kind of a strange set of procedures where we had 4 places we could have it. The 2 that we aren't allowed by city ordinance for good reason, we fought like heck to have them there, and then we gave up. And as it was reported in the paper that the city council wouldn't support it, became a moot point because before it was put on the agenda for tonight for a possible vote, the owner of the carnival withdrew his application. And I don't know his reasoning for it. Maybe he thought it wouldn't pass, whatever. But it couldn't be before us tonight because the owner of the carnival withdrew his application. So that's where we're standing at now. But I think we have a good spot for it. It might not be perfect, but as far as revenue, safety, possible damage, cleanup, I think we have an obvious spot to put it if we're willing to do that. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Council Medora's motion that this be received and filed, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Motions, orders, and resolutions. Council Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem, City Council, September 13, 2018, ordered that the monthly financial report dated June 30th, 2018 be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance. I move for adoption.
Council Terrio moves for adoption. Under discussion?
No discussion.
Seeing no discussion on Council Terrio's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Council Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem, City Council, September 13th, 2018, ordered that the monthly financial report dated July 31st, 2018 be referred to Committee on Administration and Finance, and I move for adoption.
Council Terrio moves for adoption. Any discussion? None. So on Council Terrio's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Council Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem, City Council, September 13, 2018, order that the year-to-date budget report dated April to June 2018 be referred to Committees on Administration and Finance, and I move for adoption.
Council Terrio moves for adoption. Under discussion?
No discussion. Just point out that these are the close of the previous fiscal year reports.
Thank you. On Council Terrio's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Do we, I'm sorry, further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Medor.
Thank you, Madam President.
Yeah, I see that you have a lot of stuff. It's easy to get them mixed up.
Love parking. City of Salem, City Council, September 13, 2018, ordered that the following streets be given temporary status as parking prohibitions towing zones residence sticker, parking from October 1st through October 31st, 2018, to allow parking enforcement staff and police officers to enforce during the month of October. Brown Street, Downing Street, Endicott Street, Hathorne Street, Martin Luther Street, Mount Vernon Street, Prescott Street, Summer Street, Winthrop Street, and Union Street. Be it further ordered that the fine for violating the aforementioned temporary parking prohibitions during the month of October shall be $15 on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and $40 Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I move for adoption.
Council Medor moves for adoption. Under discussion?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. So I was only recently made aware that all the resident parking only streets during October, not all of them we don't allow towing on all of them. So this is just an order to correct that. So we can give our police department the ability to tow on these streets when there is a parking violation. So I guess these are streets that don't allow towing. And this is one of the biggest issues in October, the fact that there are numerous parking violations that occur. We can slap on a $15 ticket and not get towed. It's cheaper to pay for the ticket than park in a parking lot or garage. So this is just an effort to correct that. And I would like to actually move to amend this further, if possible, to change the fine of $40 to $50 for all days during the week.
And was that done in accordance with Salem Police, traffic and parking?
I discussed this with the Chief Butler and the Traffic and Parking Director, and they think the higher fines is a good idea.
So amended to the fine change to $50 all days of the week.
All days.
Seconded.
And seconded by Councilor Terrio.
Yes. And I also had a side discussion with our chief that it would be helpful for the fine to be posted on the sign itself that says no parking, so that visitors who try to violate this ordinance will understand that they will be paying a heavy price. So we'll be working on that. See if we could boost our enforcement further.
Okay, and is that included in the order? So when the city
It's
clerk
not
sends it to
included.
DPW, that
It's not
she can
included,
send
but-
it with that information?
It's not included, but if there's a way we can include that so it's on the record, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you vote on it, he seconded it. so
I'm sorry?
That it was seconded, so if
And
you
it was
vote on
seconded?
I can amend it.
Okay, so we'll amend it.
If it's voted on.
Is that a hand up, Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor
Madam
Sargent?
President. Just a quick question. I mean, is this in line with the violation that would be citywide for violating resident sticker parking and temporary parking citywide? I think we're going to encounter some questions if we treat one neighborhood with a different fine than others. The other thing I'm a little bit worried about is especially a Salem resident visiting a Salem resident in that neighborhood, if they should not go out and put their, actually, we didn't have guest passes last year, so there were no, I'm going to bring in an order that asks to get 2 guest passes per property, especially if you don't want my mother-in-law to get a $50 ticket and a tow. I'll be in big trouble.
Do you want to amend it?
Well, I want to amend that. First, I want to answer questions about the fine. I want to make a plea for the fines to be consistent citywide, or I think we're gonna run into some big questions as to why it's a certain price in one neighborhood and not in another neighborhood. So I don't know if we could possibly amend that at another council meeting to just make sure that we're consistent citywide with resident sticker parking during the month of October. And I'll yield for now.
Thank you. Councilman Medora, do you want to respond? Or?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I think if I'm remembering correctly, it's already done by order that any street that is posted resident only, that these fines and towing rules would be applied. These fines.
Are the fines the same? I think that's what Councilor Sargent is asking about, is consistency across the city in terms of the particular streets that have the resident-only parking just for the month of October. I guess that's what the question is.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay to add that.
Could I just
Councilor Sargent?
Just that maybe we worded that parking violations be consistent with citywide parking violations for same, whatever's allowed the rest of the city. I don't know if it's $15 for a weekday and $40 for a weekend. I just would like it to be a consistent policy with all of our resident zones. So I just don't know, I don't know right now what they are. So I don't know if we can we hold the fines to the next meeting maybe, or something like that? And I'll yield in
Okay,
case somebody
thank you.
knows what the fines are.
Thank you. Councilor McCarthy?
Thank you, Madam President. As to address some of the questions that came up, when you look at the month of October, I mean, October is what it is. And you look at the month of October, if somebody is coming to visit somebody, the regular parking fine is $15. So every day of the week. So if you park in a residential zone where it says resident sticker parking only, it's $15. The point of this order is, as you spread out from the downtown, and I don't know what the logic was on where they stopped, but as you spread out from downtown, if it's $15 on a weekend and you park in a residential zone and it's $20 to park in the garage, guess what? You take the ticket and you save $5 and you park in front of somebody's house all day. The idea is to put them in the garage or put them in a lot, not in front of somebody's house. So that the idea is on the weekends when the garages are full and the demand for parking is at a premium, is to give the police and the ordinance some teeth in order to encourage people not to park in the residential areas in and around downtown.
So that's why it's set up the way it is, and I'm not sure why it stopped at certain streets would be an interesting question, but I mean, for the sake of the discussions right now, I would have no problem passing it right now, but also maybe having a broader discussion with the chief to find out where she wants to stop, because resident parking on the weekends in any neighborhood in and around downtown is difficult at best. And with all due respect to Councilor Sargent and his relatives that want to come visit somebody, we already hand out, for all the temporary streets we put up for the month of October, we started with a few and it's grown. We do not have enough spots on the streets for the passes that we give out. Period, end of sentence. And to open that up for people, for those 2,000 some odd passes that we have already got in envelopes downstairs, ready to go out to people that have been identified over all the past years, to then to try to say that we're going to give them guest passes on top of that, there is no way that there aren't that many parking spots in the city of Salem. It just doesn't exist. So for the month of October, if you happen to live in an extended residential zone, if you have the ability, move your car out of your driveway, put it on the street, and let your guests park in your driveway, or they have to find a lot to park in, because there is not enough parking. It'd be nice to say, give everyone a golden pass, park wherever you want. There is not enough parking in downtown. I'm sorry, there isn't. And I feel for the residents, I really do, and I understand that, and I think that's what's part of what this order is that they don't want, the idea is to give it some teeth, because somebody who sees residents sticker parking, and everyone takes their phone out today and goes on, looks up the city of Salem's ordinance and realizes resident sticker parking violation is $15. It's cheaper. So I'll support the order tonight. I don't like the fact that when the garages are less money during the week, we only ramp up the garages on the weekend. So I don't know what the proposal is for the weekend garages this year, or I suggest that the residential reflects that. But I don't think on a Monday or a Tuesday in October, the demand, I'm sure there is demand, but on the weekends I can understand doubling the fine or making it $40 or $50 or whatever the case is. But during the week, I don't really think there's a need for that unless they can demonstrate that the garages are full, like on a Monday and a Tuesday and a Wednesday and a Thursday. I don't want people parking in the residential neighborhoods. I get the argument. I mean, to make the fines, but I also understand that it could be that some person who doesn't understand, who comes to visit their relative, their aunt, their cousin, or whoever, and they park out there, the rules are the rules. So if you put the rule in place and somebody's cousin or neighbor goes to visit and they don't put the guest pass in the strictly residential zone, which goes with the address, they don't put it in there, they're going to get a $50 ticket. And guess what? They're in violation. It isn't like, sorry, we didn't realize that it was your aunt that parked out front. They don't have the hanging pass. Someone makes a phone call, they get a ticket. Because the police do not run every plate when they come in. Someone calls about parking violations, they look at the street, they go through, and then they go through down the street as they're there. If they don't see the passes, they get tickets. And $50 during the week is a lot to swallow, I get it. If that's the will, I'll support it. But that's just the thought. I understand what the thought is. The thought is to put teeth behind it, because the garages are more money on the weekend. So if you don't make the fine if you don't make the fine and post it with the fine there, it won't encourage people not to park there. You have to make it as a deterrent, and that's what this is for.
Thank you. Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam.
Third time's the charm.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you. I understand. I mean, I would support $40, but Madam City Clerk looked up the city ordinance, and it's, unfortunately, this is worded as a city ordinance, $15 on weekdays, $40 on weekends. I would support a change to, resident sticker parking in October, $40 if we want to make that change. So I was just asking to be consistent with city ordinance. Like it or not, I like say I would agree to that. It would just be to these streets would be $40, and the other 80% or 90% that are resident sticker parking would be $15. So we'd be treating 10 streets different than a bunch of other streets in the city with resident sticker parking. So that was my concern there. I agree. The other thing is, I just want to be redundant and put in that these people are allowed 2 guest passes also as a friendly amendment, because last year they weren't able to get them. And then also that we amend number 5, Margin Street, to Margin Street, west side only. And I've talked to the Ward 5 and the Ward 3 councilor about that. The east side of Margin Street is in front of the Phoenix School and a bunch of area with no houses. And for the neighborhood, it works well when they have people over and they might have a third person. They're allowed to go just down the street on the other side of Margin Street. And I kept an eye on it last year, and it worked well in the neighborhood. So thank you. Those 2 friendly amendments.
Thank you. Councilor Terrell, did you have your hand raised? Okay, so Councilor Terrell and then Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll just say, I was actually at the ribbon cutting today for the Salvo multi-use path, that the first half of it just opened up and the second half of it goes out for bid on Saturday from the state. So we'll get built. I spoke with the acting director of traffic, Barton McDowning, today about it, and a few other issues, and one of the things that he said is that they are talking right now with the police about the entire fine structure for violations, for resident parking violations, for all the above. And that's something like on a citywide basis that they're looking at as a group right now, with the hope of having something before us in the not too distant future.
Thank you. Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. I represent several of the streets on this list, and I will say just first of all that their number 1 complaint is parking in October, so I support this very much. And I want to say maybe there's a distinction to the Good at Large Councilor's amendment. Perhaps it's something like that they're eligible for the passes to come down and pick them up versus, I don't know if we normally, the guest passes, I mean, I don't know if we normally mail them out, but maybe it's something where they can come get them if they feel like they need them. I would support that for sure. And I also noticed that Phelps Street is not on this list. I want to amend adding that because I think last year they requested that after the fact because I noticed that the signs went up on the street, and I know that they felt sort of left out of that, and that's a street that will squish everybody onto it because it's right in the middle of a lot of these streets. So I'll ask for that amendment. Thank you.
Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to echo some of the concern. And I also wanted to see something general. I think that we only focus on area. The parking issues involve the whole city. And when you alleviate one zone, one area, the other one get congested. And I see that reflection on street near downtown. If we don't see the whole picture, what we're doing right now, we're just only covering part of the issue, and we need to make sure that we see the whole issue as a whole. So I recommend that not only that we go after those streets, but we also see any other that needs some type of alleviation, so we can also cover those in this area. I think that's, as everybody mentioned here, October is October, but we need to make sure that we prepare every year to be better and better to alleviate not only one side, but the whole city. That's my concern. Thanks.
Thank you. And I know in past years that we had done some other streets as well in other neighborhoods that the previous Ward 2 councilor and I, that we shared some streets on Bridge Street Neck. And I know that I don't think any of those are in here this time, but it sounds like what I'm hearing from people that we're not quite ready for prime time on this. Maybe do we want to vote on it? Do we want it to go to committee, or do we want to, I don't know, table it, or what do we want to do with this? Because I feel like there's a lot of amendments out there, and there's a lot of questions that are out there. So, Councilor Madore, it's yours. So, what do you want to do?
Thank you, Madam President. I believe the resident parking streets are already taken care of through ordinance. This is just simply an order, and the fines and violations will be covered by ordinance.
Yeah, I see the city clerk shaking her head.
So these are just the additional streets that we're adding by order.
Correct. These are not normally year-round residents stick a street, but
Right,
and
so-
the fines that were given mimic the ordinance of fines for Section 75. So these are done every year because they're not year-round residents
Yes.
stick a street, so without making an ordinance.
Yeah, so the towing violation and the fines are already in place by ordinance. This is
At
simply
at the 15
adding
and 40.
10 streets.
11
But you,
11
with Phelps,
with Phelps.
if the amendment is accepted.
except you made an amendment to go to 50 for
Right.
all day.
Right, so then my amendment is to increase the fines and the days that the fines will be applied during October. That would apply to the streets that are already covered by ordinance, or we have to amend that ordinance.
I don't think, that would have to be a separate, I don't think you can do a blanket, increase the fines for all resident sticker streets. I think that would need, that's the will of the body, but it's a big blanket.
The issue is the $15. I think that that's something we need to change. So if we could correct the $15 from October 1st to 31st for all streets, resident parking only for this order, not just these additional streets, but all resident parking streets. That's acceptable. I'd like to
Okay, so
I'll word it
change,
so-
change all resident-only parking fines on those resident-only parking streets to $50.
$50 for all the days.
For all days on all streets that have resident-only parking.
During October.
In October.
Yes.
Only for October. Okay.
I'm willing to extend it beyond October for now without a bigger discussion.
Okay, that's amended. Okay, so I see Counselor Dibble's hand go up, and then Counselor Flynn's hand just went up. So, okay. Counselor Dibble.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. I don't think that amending the resident only parking citywide can be amended here tonight. It's not before us, it's not posted, and it's outside the four corners, totally. This clearly says 10 streets. Adding the 11th Street, I'm okay with adding Phelps, and whatever the fines be for these areas, I'm okay with that. But I don't think we can go citywide because we'd be in violation. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. That's why I'm almost thinking that maybe we should go to, this should go to Ola, maybe? Counselor Flynn?
Thank you, Madam President. I was going to exactly say the same thing. There's too much going out right now, being thrown out. I think this should go to Ola, to committee, and have it cleaned up a little bit and presented a little better than this. We're kind of rushing on this, and I don't think it makes sense to do this tonight. Thank you.
Okay. You already talked 3 times.
Quickly, I have a possible solution.
Because of my admiration for you. Okay, Counselor
Sargent.
Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. Possibly, we pass this as is tonight as far as the fines with the 2 guest pass amendment and the west side of Margin Street and the Phelps Street. And we're still in motions, orders, and resolutions. We bring in a late file, motion to amend the city ordinance on resident sticker park and fines. Now we have a meeting before next council meeting, and it's done before October. So we can do that part of it.
I'm glad I let you speak.
Thank you.
Okay, so,
Oh, it's citywide, yeah.
okay, so
Yeah, but this is just an order for the month of October. This is fine, right? Yeah. Even if you change the
Counselor
citywide.
Terrell, is this number 3? This is your third time? Quickly?
Yes. Thank you, Madam President. I think it's been mostly hit on the point. My personal recommendation and what I would move would be that this be, because it's an order and it doesn't require 2 passages to move, so we can move it at the last September meeting as cleaned up as necessary, and then vote on it that night, and it will still take effect for the month of October, because it's an order, not an ordinance for this temporary.
Okay.
So I would move that this be referred to ordinance license legal affairs co-posted. I would also think that we could bring in a order at this time that we could, I believe we can do it legally through an order, but we can't do it in the context tonight. We could bring in an order at that meeting to change the fine for the month of October with an eye to making that part of a permanent ordinance change in the future.
Okay, so you're motioning
My motion
to,
is to put it to Ola co-posted.
but you just also said that we need 2 passages for this.
No, we do
No.
not need 2 passages for the order.
We don't need 2 passages for the order. Okay, so we could send it to Ola, second on sending it to Ola.
Second.
Okay, Councilor Flynn, you also had your hand up. Councilor Flynn, did you want to say anything else, or did you want to second?
No, I was going to second that.
Oh, you were going to second, and then
Yep,
Dominguez
that's right.
beat you to it. Councilor Maduro.
Thank you, Madam President. So if we move it to Ola, should we move it as submitted or amended?
Yeah. I suggest that submitted.
As submitted.
All the previous motions that we just had.
Take them up.
We can change it.
Okay, so do we just want to send it to Ola as submitted or as amended?
As submitted would be the safe way.
As submitted.
Yeah, because then it
Not
can be
amended.
amended in Ola.
Okay,
Can
so
we put on a date certain for Ola?
on a date certain, Council McCarthy, you gonna?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know, because you have nothing going on in that committee at all. Okay.
I'll have a meeting before our next meeting.
Okay, fantastic. So we are going to, on Councilor Mador's motion to move this to Ola, no, on Councilor Turiel's motion to move this to Ola, seconded by Councilor Dominguez, and that's it, correct?
Yes.
Okay, then you can sit down. Oh, no, wait, you've got so much more.
Wait, no, so,
We need to vote.
yeah, we need to vote, but the ordinance amendment would come in the following meeting this month. Is that going to Ola too? Because-
Well, okay, so the ordinance, hang on, Council McCarthy, I'll get you in a second. So the ordinance, if you write a late file right now, write it up really quick before we finish motions, orders, and resolutions, then I'll say any late files, and then you say late file to amend the fines, then we can't discuss it, then it's gonna be, then it can go right to committee.
Automatically.
Yep, and then we can sort it out, and then it can come out at the next meeting. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, Council McCarthy, is that what you were gonna say? Okay, good. Okay.
Eileen, help.
So on Councilor Terrell's motion to submit this to ordinances, licenses, and legal affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, seconded by Councilor Dominguez. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries, finally. Okay, so I just have a question for the body. I see that there's a lot of people here that are still waiting for the short-term rentals, I believe, and I'm just wondering if we want to take this out of order because I feel like we could be here a while. Councilor McCarthy?
Thank you, Madam President. Move to take committee reports out of order.
On
I don't know what other page it is.
17.
17?
There you
No.
go.
No, that's Riley Plaza. That's short-term rental, yes,
That's
page
item
17.
17.
Okay, on the bottom of page 17. So, committee reports, Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem in the year 2018, an ordinance to amend an ordinance, no, wrong one.
Similar to that.
Don't want that one. Be here all night about that one.
It's not an order, it would be an ordinance.
Not that one either.
See if you can read my letter.
As long as you can read.
Where's my committee report? I don't have my committee report.
You don't have the committee report?
For short-term rentals? Oh, wait a second, maybe it could be, no, it could be in this one.
It should be there.
There it is, I get it. There's a lot of them, sorry.
Just say that and then
Here we go. City of Salem and City Council, September 13th, 2018. The Committee on Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs, Co-Postal Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of an ordinance allowing short-term rentals in the City of Salem, has considered said matter and recommended that this matter be brought out to the full council for its with no recommendation.
On acceptance of the report, excuse me, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. I'm sorry, guys. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion?
Thank you, Madam President. We had a very good discussion with a whole bunch of people and with Vicky Caldwell from legal relative to the ordinance. Everyone had the draft ordinance proposal in front of us, just to hit some of the highlights of it. Basically, the ordinance the proposed ordinance is, if we vote for it tonight, does not allow for non-owner occupied in R1s. It also, through discussion, we opted to have what's called the administrative fee, which came up in discussions, which is an administrative fee for $100, so that if you have a Airbnb, you have to register it with the City of Salem, and so we can kind of track them. With regards to some of the questions that came out about, there was a lot of questions that came out about knowing where they were, what they were doing. There's a lot of, according to Vicky, there's a lot of legal precedent with that, with regards to right to privacy and stuff like that. So the registration fee, that's for the city to know, because there are some privacy issues, and a lot of people brought those up, and they were valid concerns that if someone was to enter into, someone was decided to, not so much now that if we consider eliminating as proposed in R1s, but if someone has, someone owns a two-family in a zone that, we talk about on Monday, and then is, renting that second unit in their home, which they would then be, allowed to by special permit, if passed on Monday, or if, once it gets heard on Monday, then it goes through the whole process. But anyway, that all of a sudden someone could put two and two together, know what the list is of these rental properties, and know when they're not vacant or they're, so it could be a dicey situation, and someone could actually try to start tracking some of these units and know when people aren't living there, because, Airbnb posts like when it's not available and stuff. I don't do it, so I couldn't tell you. So that came up. The one, there's a lot of questions that came up about grandfathering. I believe that there's some valid questions with that, but I think that the grandfathering aspect, because if we pass the ordinance, then obviously there's going to be some people that own properties that will be affected, because they may have bought a property in R1, they don't live there, they bought it as everyone's alluded to, as an investment. And they take that investment and they decided the best way, the biggest potential for their investment is to do short-term rentals, because as was testified by one of the realtors, they have the potential to make the most money that way. They make more money doing short-term than they would have to if someone rented their place for a whole year. So the whole grandfathering aspect can be taken up when we do when we look to amend the zoning table, which is on Monday, when we have that discussion with the planning board. But the other issue is also to be implementation, because when you look at it, right now it's an industry that seems to be more and more relevant everywhere, and it's one of those things that we took up. And now the question becomes, if someone has one or is utilizing their property, or a room in their property, or whatever it is they're utilizing, and now the city is going to step in and say, that is not allowed. At some point, we have to say it's not allowed as by what date? Because, they have made an investment in this property. They, as someone alluded to, the market is hot. They could probably, but that's not maybe what they anticipated. But also, they also could have, in good faith, before we started having these open discussions, they may have made bookings 3 months out, 6 months out. I'm not sure. I don't know how far out they go, but they may have already booked it, and it wouldn't be, you can't accommodate the bookings that are way out, but at some point you have to accommodate, put some sort. So I'll leave it open. But if anyone has any more discussions about it, but those were the big areas that we covered. A lot of the discussion went in there, and as was alluded to in some of the discussions earlier from people, a lot of people were really happy with the direction in which the ordinance, and I give Councilor Dibble a lot of credit for the first couple of meetings that he took with his committee before it got transferred over to Ola, and some of them get the initial ball rolling, got the original draft ordinance, and then the ordinance that was in front of us at the meeting, and actually, even when a lot of people came into that room, I don't think they were actually really understood how far it had come with regards to some of the language and what we were attempting to do. So I would encourage, we're going to have a discussion on Monday with regard to the table as to specifically what's allowed and what's not allowed in certain zones. Obviously, but the ordinance itself the big ticket thing in there is in the R1 zone, non-owner occupied are not allowed. So I think the grandfathering issue we can take up during the zoning when we adopt the zoning table, because we can put time limits on when that actually takes effect. But I think that I want to thank everyone who came out to the meetings. I want to thank everyone in the room that participated, because I think in the end, it was alluded to. It's about the neighborhoods, and no disrespect to anybody in the realty community. When you look at some neighborhoods, a lot of the Salem neighborhoods, they're not seasonal. When you look at some of these seasonal rentals, they're in communities where you're down the Cape, where it seems like their tourist season is defined, or you're up in Maine and the season is defined. Salem is a year-round community. We don't have that anymore. So to try to say that you can have a lot of these owner-occupied or investment properties, what you are, especially in R1 zones, I think it's very difficult to say that. So I think that's where the gist of this came. So I would encourage everyone to vote for passage on this. I think it's a lot of good work on it, and I want to thank everyone for their efforts on it.
Thank you. Councilor Terrio, and then Councilor Major.
Thank you, Madam President. Since this is coming out with no particular recommendation, first I would like to move for adoption for first passage. So that said, I also want to so I am comfortable with this ordinance as it has come out of committee. I think they did a very good job of tuning it, and I also, the investor short-term rental market is not a market I really want to service in this city, because the problem that we have that has been an issue for some time is the escalating cost of rentals, the escalating cost of purchases. It's a problem that affects many people I know. It's a problem I see people talk about all the time. I see people I know being priced out of homes and apartments in Salem and having to go to other communities because the market here is hot. It's almost too hot, and it's great if you want to sell your home, but that's the only time it's really great. It's terrible if you want to buy a home, and it's terrible if you want the increase in home values is terrible if you're a long-term renter and want to stay in an apartment. So, because as soon as that place turns over, the price for the rental goes way up to support the new mortgage on the property. And in this market right now, it's so desirable, people can get that money. So, I would, anything we can do at this point to try and put a bit of a damper on that escalation is good. And Airbnb and all the short-term rental services have been doing great for the last few years because they live in a gray area. There hasn't been any real precedent or regulation set, so they can do more or less whatever they want. And that causes problems in cities like ours. This has caused much bigger problems in a lot of other cities where they've been operating for a lot longer. But, we've seen a few signs of that happening here, and the trickle hasn't become a torrent yet, but I don't want to see it become a torrent. So I'm happy to move this forward and finally put some controls on it. The one thing I will note from all the public testimony earlier tonight from the Rodericks who have remained here for it is it is to their credit or blame one way or another that I'm sitting in this chair today, because in 1993 we tried to buy their house, their first Willows house. We put an offer in that they didn't want to consider, and so we turned to our second choice, which was on Lafayette Street. But it was wonderful that you guys came back to the Willows too. So you live next to friends of ours, so that's wonderful. And depending on things, we either thank you or blame you for me being here now.
Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to echo the good ward councilor's remarks about how constructive the discussion has been. And just want to point out that everyone keeps comparing the ordinance to the Boston ordinance. We are not, Salem as a city is not Boston, so we cannot compare Boston's demand and needs to Salem. And I think we've done a really good job to make some changes in this ordinance so that we could allow the grandfathering, especially in neighborhoods that are R2 and R3, and because those properties actually contribute to our community, serving as Airbnbs. The owners, they have either been here or grown up here and want to stay here, so I think that was a good step for us to take to recognize that. And in terms of prohibiting only investor-owned properties in R1, it does not impact me greatly because I only have 2 R1 districts in Ward 2, one of them Chestnut Street and the other little sliver of Collins Cove. And honestly, I don't think anyone in those 2 neighborhoods would want to see investor-owned properties as Airbnbs. Simply because the neighborhood's theme keeps coming up this evening, and I want to brag about how I represent the highest number of neighborhoods in the city as a ward councilor, almost 6 or 7, and they all have different interests, but I'm pretty sure that the R1 issue is actually more beneficial to other wards, especially Ward 3 and Ward 4, where almost the entire ward is R1, and those are the ones that are being impacted. Young families who want to purchase that starter home, but because an investor does not live there, or they would like to just rent it out for the profit. I think that's a really big obstacle, and so I think the prohibition for investor-only properties in R1 has a really good benefit for the city as a whole. So I want to urge everyone to pass this. Thank you.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. The only, from the legal department, when I talked to Vicki earlier tonight, the only thing we need to add to the proposed ordinance, it would be the amendment, would be to put a implementation date. So that would be something that we would have to decide on tonight, whether it be January 1st, April 15th, June 30th, pick a day, because, being respectful of the people that, as proposed in the ordinance with regard to, we're going to take up the grandfathering, there'll be a certain amount of time once passed that the people who have ones in different zones outside of R1 can, petition the ZBA. So, but it would be more of a, what is the implementation date? So I will leave that to the will of the body as to, right now it is September 16th, 17th, something, I don't know, whatever date it is, 12th or 14th, middle of September. So you're looking October, November, December, 3 months would be the end of December. If you want to go 6, you're out towards April. If you want to do it right before the end of spring, summer, you're looking 1st of June. So I'll just throw those out there.
Councilor Terra.
Thank you. I had already, I've moved for adoption on it, and did anybody second it yet?
No.
Okay, Councilor Fury seconded, thank you. I would also move to amend this to change section 2. This ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter on, I'm thinking this on as of January 1st, 2019. That would be a quarter from now, and
That's 2.5 months.
October, November, December, 3 months and a couple of weeks or so. If second passage took place at the end of September, if this passes tonight and second passage on the 27th, then that would give it basically essentially 1 quarter before these went into effect, because we also do have to resolve the zoning part of this as well. And the joint public hearing is going to be on Monday, so we're not going to that would then be taken up by the planning board after that and then referred back to us sometime in one of our October meetings, so we're still going to have to pass that twice as well.
That clock's
started, or no, that clock starts, I think if I'm correct, Madam City Clerk, that clock starts as soon as we have the meeting on Monday, correct? And that's a 90-day
Yeah,
clock.
that's the joint public hearings, but they would hear it at the next planning board meeting after that joint public hearing, have it on their agenda. So it's going to come back to us at the earliest would be the 27th, assuming they had it on their agenda next week after the joint public hearing. So the earliest we would get it would be the 27th, and if we need any committee time with it, then it wouldn't, you're talking about the earliest we can pass it would be the first October meeting,
Right.
and more likely the second. So,
I don't think it'll make it for the September 20th meeting.
yeah,
to be
so
honest.
that's my point. So giving this time, putting this date implementation, this effective date out to January 1st would be reasonable and give us time to finish the zoning as well. That's my thinking.
Councilor McCarthy? Then Councilor Dibble?
Also affects the tax year for people. Thank you, Madam President. I respect the idea, but I'm going to put my other hat on now. I'm going to take my neighborhood hat off, and I'm going to put my other hat on, that I am a person, whoever XYZ person may be, and in good faith, I bought a home. In my best interest, I felt that home, because there was no rules on the books, I wanted to try it as an Airbnb. Maybe, we've heard some people say, do that way for a couple of years, then maybe move into it or whatnot. But now, especially in the R1 zones, it's difficult, and now you're asking somebody in 3 months' time to try to cease and desist on what they're doing, which I agree with. But at the same time, is now you're asking them if they don't want to live there, or if they don't want to get into a long-term rental, then you're now asking them to sell their home or sell their property that they invested in. And as we all know, the worst time in the world to buy a piece of property is the 1st of January. No offense. So, and it's also, I mean, some of these places may have already booked out that distance, and that's why we talk about grandfathering. And I don't want to put any more undue burden on the neighbors, but at the same time, I have to be mindful and respectful of the people who bought these things, because they didn't do it, they did it in good faith, but there wasn't any malicious intent in what they did. And it wasn't like they decided they wanted to disrupt the neighborhood, which in some cases they have. But what they did is they bought a piece of property, and I don't know if it's in the best interest of this body to then send a message to cease and desist, and basically make up your mind by January 1 on whether or not you're going to sell. And we're asking them if that's their choice, because maybe they don't want to get into long-term rentals or whatever, and they're going to sell. The worst time in the world to sell is January, and then you're imposing that date on them. So I don't know. That could be me. That's me talking out loud. I understand and I respect the neighbors with that, but at the same time you have to sometimes take a step back and put yourself in their shoes just for a brief second and say, yeah, I understand it, okay, I don't like it, but I'm going to have to sell. But now they're asking me to sell in January, and then when you're asking them to hold on to their mortgage for 3 or 4 months and then sell I don't know. January may work, but maybe, I just think timing-wise, it's really quick. But that's just my opinion. I'll leave it. I'll go with the will of the body.
Thank you. Councilor Dibble and then Councilor Peterson.
Hey, thank you, Madam President. I have to agree with the good Ward 1 councilor's comments just now. This is the first time I'm speaking on this matter tonight, and it's long overdue. We're ready to pass something, but we should also pass something that is a complete package of what we want. And I don't think we're quite there yet. The good at-large councilor down to my right, he got this ball started back in January on his first 2 days as a counselor. We had a meeting on it, and I said, yes, let's get the ball rolling. And he asked for it to go to my committee, and we had a couple of good meetings. But the good Ward 1 counselor, I think, had the best of the 3 or 4 meetings that we had, where there was a lot of dialogue exchange from the public back and forth, a lot of questions and answers. And I like that round table approach that he handed out. So with that, I kind of, and it's apples and oranges, but if we look at it a certain way, this is like the plastic bag ordinance, where we gave all the businesses a year, I think it was, maybe
Exactly.
13 months.
We gave them a
13
little over, I think it was like 15 months or
Okay,
something.
whatever it was, so that they can use up all of their inventory, all their plastic bags that they had. And shame on them, if they went out and bought more, that's on them. but at least it gave them a chance to plan and get rid of what they had. Some businesses had a lot of them. Some businesses it really didn't affect, like some of the big supermarkets, it didn't matter to them at all because they just could have moved their plastic bags. But some of these Airbnbs and short-term rentals have obligations. I know the Knights of Columbus just had to pay a substantial amount for a wedding that was booked after the date they sold the property. So it's the same scenario. So I think we need to give adequate time. I don't think January 1st, with all due respect to my friend, the Ward 5 Council, I don't think it's quite enough time. Maybe we go out 1 year and give them time. I think that's a good compromise to let people either sell the properties or do something different or stop taking bookings after a certain date. But I think a year from now would be okay. And I talked about that with a few of the people at the few people that were here in support of Airbnbs at the last meeting. And they thanked me for that, but they didn't want it stopped. They wanted to keep on going. So I think we need to have a date. I just personally booked an Airbnb for 6 months from now. So they're booked. Some of them are booked way out. Not a lot of them, but some of them are. And especially, people are probably booking at Halloween. Okay, so we should have a date set that works and it's further out. With that, and I'm excited that we're almost there. We're going to pass something's needed to be passed, but I don't think we're quite there yet. And I chaired a bunch of meetings on this. I attended all the other meetings on the mayor's meeting, the good Ward 1 council's meeting on it. I've gone to all of them. But we're not there yet, because I'd like to hear from the planning board on the zoning and getting fine tuning on all this. So I'm going to make a motion that we simply lay this on the table till our next meeting so we can get the opinion from the planning board and take this whole package all at one time, probably at our next meeting, because I bet they're going to give us an opinion back in time for 2 weeks from now. If not, it'll be the first meeting in October. And I think it can wait 2 weeks or 4 weeks. I think it can wait until we have that meeting with the planning board and we have a round table of ideas with our zoning experts and our planning experts. We have that discussion because we haven't had it yet. So my motion is to simply lay it on the table until we get the opinion back from the planning board, and then immediately we pass this thing because it's long overdue. Thank you, Madam Chair. So my motion is to lay it on the table.
President.
Excuse me?
President.
I'm sorry, what did I say?
You just said Madam Chair.
I apologize. I really apologize for that. Madam President, I apologize. My motion is simply just to lay it on the table until we have the opinion back from the planning board. Thank you.
Non-debatable. So.
Thank you. It is non-debatable, but if I just may take some latitude just to point out in terms of a timeline that because of the Halloween parade, normally the planning board meets the first and third Thursdays of the month, but because of the Halloween parade, they get pushed back to the second Thursday. So if they don't hear it at the September 20th meeting, then they're not going to hear it until the night of our next meeting on October 11th. So I just want to put that out there, but because the motion was to lay it on the table, so I honestly, I don't know that we're going to have anything back for our next meeting.
As I said, I think it can wait till the next meeting as well, the first meeting of October, either or. I don't think we have to rush into it. I think we should gather that information from the public joint meeting, from our zoning experts, and then make an informed, intelligent choice and maybe make some changes to this, if needed.
Okay, and so then because it's late on the table, then we have to stop all debate, and so we just have to take a vote on whether or not we're gonna lay it on the table. Councilor McCarthy, we gotta wait. So the order right now is Councilor Dibble's motion to lay it on the table. All those in favor? What do we have? I see three in favor. All those opposed? Opposed. Matter does not carry. Okay, I'm sorry, Councilor McCarthy. Councilor Peterson did have her hand up first, and then I'll call on you. Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. If I understand my colleague from Ward 1 correctly, we do need a date to bring it forward to the next step. Is that correct? Or sorry.
No, this is we just need an effective date. There's no effective date on this.
That's what I mean. We need that to move forward from here. So I just logistically wanted to point out that if it is too soon, then people are going to have to choose to show their homes at the same time that they're renting them out, and during October, and I'm sure that's not ideal. So I would second where I think the Ward 7 councilor was going with December of 2019.
December? Is Council McCarthy, is that what you had mentioned, December of?
Or,
No.
No.
Counselor Dibble was.
So, Councilor McCarthy,
getting
okay,
there, I
so,
think.
okay, hang on one second, Councilor Flynn. So, okay, so Councilor Peterson, you're recommending the effective date be December 1st?
2019. December 31st, I guess.
December 31st, 2019, and then Councilor McCarthy, and then Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Madam President. I don't think I was thinking that far out. With all due respect, we're talking about R1 zones, which is residential zones, so I think as long as it's before the next summer season, so maybe it would coincide with the fiscal year, so like
June 30th.
June 30th, so that before we get into the summer, so that way that would give people time to clear up their rentals or maybe tax season, April 15th. I'm not sure, but that's way too far out. A whole other year is way too far out. So I think we need to push it, and I think January 1st is too close, so pick something in the middle, or cheat it one way or the other, but I think well over a year I think it's too much time, but I think that January 1st is too quick of time. That's my personal opinion, but if I had to choose between, if those were the only two on the table, I would choose January 1, even though I don't like it, as opposed to, because I think that January 2019 is way too far out.
You mean January 2020?
Whatever it is. I think, someone said December 31st.
I
So,
said December
yeah.
31st.
So I think it should be someplace in the middle.
Okay.
So I'll put a motion on the floor just to complicate things
Just
up.
to add things.
I'll just say, my proposal would be I'll go with tax day. I'm going to go April 15th. I put a motion on the floor that as of implementation day would be April 15th.
Okay, so.
That would give people
Councilor
springtime.
Peterson is December 31st, 2019. Councilor Terrell
I'll
is
withdraw mine
January
and
1st.
second
Oh,
this.
Councilor Terrell is withdrawing, thank you. And
I'll second
then,
this.
who said June 30th?
That was the
so
date I was
you're-
throwing, when I originally
you're
said
taking that
fiscal
back.
year, now
There hasn't been a motion made on it.
Okay.
I'm going tax season, I'm going April 15th.
You're going, okay. And then Councilor Flynn,
Thank you, Madam President.
you're welcome.
I'm going to have to agree with the good Ward 1 counselor. Right around April sounds fair after listening to the people down the Willows. Taxpayers, they're in our R1 neighborhood. I don't want to see another summer down there for them to have to go through that. After all, people are buying these as investors, and in investing there's a gamble. Well, this gamble has come to an end. It's time now that they're going to have to clear the books, and we're going to have to protect the R1 neighborhoods. And I hear you loud and clear. I have a problem with one in my ward as well. And I don't think it's anyone's dream to live in a Ward 1 and have a non-owner next to them like that. It's not fair, it's not right. And I'm going to agree, we'd give it till April 15th to clear the books. And I think that's a good idea, and hopefully this works out for the people down the Willows as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Councilor Terrell, I think this is going to be your third time.
Yep, third time's a charm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. This time
The
for
charm.
sure.
Wrap it up.
The immortal words of Rocky and Bullwinkle. No, I want to concur. The date is fine so long as we have a date. I have no particular attachment to one or another, but the sooner the better. And I agree completely with my colleague from Ward 4. Yes, these properties are being bought as investments, and investments aren't guaranteed. So if you bought it figuring that you're going to make a fortune in short-term rentals and it's going to appreciate a ton and then you can sell it off, well, sorry, that's not how we're going to make money in real estate in Salem. But there are going to be, out of this, for people who read this when it's posted, there are going to be very good opportunities for people to rent out their homes, rent out second units, rent out accessory units, and do things that will be able to make money and help them with their income and help alleviate some of the demand. And for people who want to own a larger building and have a series of rooms that are rented out, we have something for that, and it's called an inn. And you can go through the licensing process and build yourself an inn and rent out your rooms and deal with it accordingly.
Thank you. Okay, so I lost all my notes. Okay, so let's just.
We have to vote on the amendment first.
Yes, that's where I was going to go. So let's just work our way. Which way are we going? The last one was April, or wait, Counselor
was the only one.
Peterson's was December 31st of 2019.
I'll withdraw.
Okay, you'll withdraw it? Okay, so Counselor Peterson withdraws that. Okay, so, the amendment for, April 15th, the dreaded tax day of 2019, is our vote on when this will take effect. All those in favor? All those opposed? That carries. Okay, now, Counselor McCarthy.
Can we take up the second part of this, since we're, just to finish it all off?
We still have to take the actual,
We haven't done-
we haven't moved
Oh, okay.
moved to adopt for first passage.
Gotcha.
And then we can go to,
That's fine.
okay, good. Okay, so now on Counselor Terrell's motion for adoption for first passage, seconded by Counselor Fury. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries.
Is this the one that Vicky with the draft?
I can't hear
Those
you.
amendments? Is this the one with Vicky's
Yes.
draft amendments? Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, yes. Okay, so, and then Counselor McCarthy, did you want to continue on to?
Just the fines associated.
18?
Is correct. Thank you, Madam President.
Okay. Okay, so further committee reports, Counselor McCarthy.
Thank you. City of Salem and City Council, September 13, 2018. Committee on Ordinance License Legal Vehicle Code proposal, Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of amending ordinance relative to setting fines for violations of short-term rental ordinance in City of Salem, has considered matter and would recommend that the ordinance be adopted as amended for first passage.
And, okay, on acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion, Counselor McCarthy.
Thank you. This is just the fines that if someone's in violation, they, as it came up in committee, someone asked if they were compounded, like, but daily, or it was just a one-time. They are, so that was a question. They're consistent with the, our rules and mass state laws with regards to imposing fines, so the committee's recommendation was to pass.
Thank you.
And that's what I would put forth.
Okay, and Counselor Terrell, are you recused? Any further discussion? Seeing none, I kind of wanted to go a little slower so Counselor Terrell could rejoin us, but I guess we won't. So, on Counselor McCarthy's motion to adopt the recommendation, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Counselor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we return to the regular portion of the meeting unless there's something else you want to take up. Page 13.
Is anybody else here for anything else? No? Okay, so we can go back to the, or do we want to give people a moment just to leave?
Move for a 1-minute recess.
Move for a 1-minute recess. Thank you. We are in recess.
Thank you.
And we're back.
Yahoo.
Do I need a motion to go back
Move to resume the regular meeting.
Moving to resume the regular meeting. Counselor Dibble.
Yes. Thank you, Madam President. I was a little bit remiss earlier. I couldn't find my list, and the Ward 1 Council, Ward 4 Council gave a wonderful testimony, tribute to our retiring police officers.
It's a moment of personal privilege.
Yes, that's what I saw, yes.
Yep.
Moment of personal privilege. Thank you. And I simply, we need to just recognize them by name, whereas they've given decades of service to our city and protecting our city as police officers. So with that, I'd like to commend and thank the following officers for their decades of service and to enjoy their retirement. And specifically, the officers are William Jennings, Barry Driscoll, Kevin O'Donnell, Jim Walker, Brian Norris, Cindy Jerslow, Tom Cunningham, Mike Page, and Bob Prozuski, using some of their nicknames because all of these people, I'm looking at them, are personal friends of mine. I've gone to a couple of their children's weddings on. And it means a lot to me. I'm going to miss these people. They are good people and they gave a lot to Salem. So I just wanted to recognize them by name. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you so much. Councilor Fury?
Madam President, even the classes they won't, really. I think it would be really...
Personal privilege.
Point possible to allow a city seal to be sent to each, because they were really in a class.
Good idea. Second.
I agree.
I mean, city seal.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so then a motion to go back to the regular.
So moved.
So moved on page 13, I believe is where we left off.
Yep.
Yes, because we had finished page 12. Okay. Motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. Ordered. Why then I got skipped together. City of Salem, City Council, September 13, 2018. Order Salem Youth Organizations, examples, Salem High School Music Boosters, Salem High School Football Boosters, Salem High School Drama Club, and Salem Youth Football, and others are hereby authorized to staff the parking lot at 297 Bridge Street and collect a parking fee of $20 per day on the following designated weekend and holiday dates: October 6, 7, 8, October 13, 14, October 20th, 21st, and October 27, 28. Organizations interested in staffing the lot are to schedule dates through the City of Salem's Traffic and Parking Department. And I move for adoption.
Council Madore moves for adoption. Under discussion?
Yes, Madam President, very quickly, just this is on the lot that we call the Universal Steel Lot, and because it's a city-owned parking lot, functioning as a city-owned parking lot currently, we give it to our youth organizations to raise some money during October, our busiest time of the year. So can't see any other better use for this time. So that's it.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm wondering if the good Ward 2 councilor or any other council might know what happens on the 29th, 30th, and most importantly, Halloween, the 31st. That's excluded from here. Are we staffing it with our own employees and getting a higher rate, or is it the standard? Because I don't want to be remiss in missing out on charging more on Halloween night for the parking in that lot.
Good. Oh, Council Madore.
I guess we could, thank you, Madam President, I guess we could consider it, but it's a school night this year, so I don't know if the kids are able to staff it.
Right.
That's why we designated the weekends. That's something I don't have an answer for.
Okay.
I wonder, maybe we could allow it, but I don't know how to answer that question.
Okay. Councilor
add it
Peterson and then
later.
Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I was just going to suggest, I mean, if we allow it and they don't use it, I think that's probably fine, right? I don't know. We're not like ordering them to use it, are we?
Right. Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll just point out, this is strictly just to handle the weekends at this point, and when we allow them to do that, we allow them to charge $20, and then other days, it's standard rates. Halloween is on a weekday, is on a Wednesday this year, so it's a little bit different. And then, right here within our agenda, if an organization is interested in staffing it, for that, they can contact the Traffic and Parking Department, who can then send a recommendation to us for anybody so if there is somebody who wants to, a Salem group that wants to do it that weekend, then they can do it and it can come back to us in a couple weeks. It's within their bailiwick to recommend that to us, and then we approve it.
Thank you. Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Madam President. This is a great event that we help the youth sport in our city. But I had to ask this question because I don't see all the groups here. I say others, but I don't see volleyball. I don't see others. And the second question that I have is, the entire money that they collect is going to go toward our group, or part of that money is going to be kept by the city?
All the group.
All goes to the group.
All the group.
Yeah, we do it
Yes.
every year.
And so I think saying others will allow for, I don't know, I can't say a star, but I did track in high school. So if the track team wanted, if the cross country team wanted to do it, or if any other club at Salem High wanted to do it, because we have others, they could.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Okay, so what are we gonna do? Are we gonna do anything about the 31st or no?
They can go to parking and then come back to us.
Okay. Did you have anything else to
Thank
add,
you, Madam
Councilor
President.
Peterson?
I'll submit an amendment if you, for the 31st at least. I feel like that would be.
Yeah, the would kids really want to work on the 31st?
Maybe, just to allow it.
Just to allow it? Councilor Terrio?
I don't know. I mean, that's fine if that's what we want to pass, but essentially, if one of these organizations wanted to do the 31st, they go to traffic and parking, who would then come to us to ask to add that date. So
hold off.
We have plenty of time to do that if that's the case. I wouldn't want to I don't want to just hand them. It could be they asked and nobody wanted it. So.
Okay. Councilor Madore?
Thank you, Madam President. So if we add the 31st, then we would charge the $20 on the 31st, regardless of whether anyone staffs it, right? That's the outcome if we add
I mean, if
it.
nobody's there to take the money, no one's going to give you the money. So
it would be $20 if someone is there to staff it.
yeah,
I don't.
but as Councilor
Regular
Terrio
rate
pointed out, that we don't have to rush on this right now. It's September
Okay.
13th. We have some time. If a club wants or mentions to traffic and parking, and then we can amend it. Unless you want to amend it now, since it is your order in your ward.
I don't see how it would hurt to have the 31st.
If we set the rate and nobody's here to staff it.
The machine can wait.
Councilor Sargent?
You may want to invite a veterans group such as Reach Across America to staff it if they so desire.
Okay, so leave it open for other groups.
For the 31st.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Then I apologize. I'm notorious for overthinking. So I apologize that I sent us on this rabbit hole. Councilor Madore?
So to that, we would have to amend this to add different type of organization?
Maybe we
or-
should just
Yeah.
hold off on adding anything right now, because like if another organization wants to ask about that date, then we can jump off that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah, so we'll still move to adopt this.
Yep, just move for adoption. Okay, so any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Madore's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions, Councilor Madore.
City of Salem and City Council, September 13, 2018, order the City of Salem lot at the MBTA station and the Church Street West lot shall be made available for use by Salem residents at no cost for weekends in October. I move for adoption.
Councilor Madore moves for adoption. Under discussion? No. And you mentioned the
wanna
T-lot,
discuss
correct?
it?
You said the T-lot as well. Okay.
Yes.
I can't hear.
Yeah, just very briefly, it's just to alleviate parking issues during October, and we wanted to open up the Crescent lot. It's owned by the city this year, in addition to the West lot, which we always open up to Salem residents. That's all.
Great. And so with the T-lot, the city T-lot, what they're talking about is it's that city lot that's actually Ward 6. And what happens then is when people park there, when Salem residents park there, if there isn't someone there to check their ID, then somebody does go around and check their license plate. And if the license plate is registered to someone in Salem, then no problem. If there is someone there has a license plate that's not registered, or is registered to someone that doesn't live in Salem, ticket and or tow.
Yes.
Yes.
Your plate must be registered in Salem.
Yes, and so I know from experience on the Church Street lot that when you pull in, that there is someone very nice there that will ask you for your license. So they don't do it by plate, but they do it by license at Church Street.
Okay.
Okay. Just thought I'd mention that. Sorry, I probably should have come down. But anyway, I'm getting goofy at this point. Okay, so on Council Madore's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Council Madore, it's your night.
Really shouldn't be, this is good exercise for the two of us. City of Salem City Council, September 13th, 2018, ordered up to 25 parking spaces shall be issued by the acting director of traffic and parking to residents who demonstrate an emergency need for access to resident-only parking in the month of October, but live on a street that is not limited to resident parking either annually or in October. And I move for adoption.
Councilor Madore moves for adoption. Under discussion?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. This is something we've done in previous years. We've had maybe 5 residents ask for emergency pass for residents specifically who don't have resident parking during October in case they need to give birth.
When you have to recuse yourself?
Hey, it's happened. My son was due in October last year, 3 years ago. Or people who need medical attention in an emergency scenario, or that they're aware of that they might need that parking space. So this is just another way for us to alleviate that parking issue for folks who don't have parking passes. Move for adoption. Yeah, I said that.
Move for adoption. Thank you. And Councilor Dominguez?
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. I just quickly, my comment is going to be related to the one that I made earlier. I think that we need to look at every issue as a whole. I think that when we impact in one zone, the other one might be suffering. So when we're talking about 25 parking passes, we need to make sure that we also see near location. Like, I have to speak out because I've been having a lot of concern on Halloween for the near neighborhood closest to downtown. When we alleviate downtown, we always pay to Council of Ward 2. When we alleviate some issue in Ward 2, kind of affecting the other areas, so we need to make sure that we also take into consideration. So 25 parking passes, we should be able to look out and say and open it for more need. I don't know how you find out we only can allow 25. Can we advertise anyone in the surrounding area who need it? Might be up to 50 or whatever amount, but also open it so other people see that these other resources not only for one area but for all. That's my concern. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilor Madore, then Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. The 25 parking passes is open for all residents in the city. And the 25 came up with the number 25 because historically only up to 5 people have actually needed the pass, so we expanded it to 25, so that's why it says up to. So I hope that answers the large councilor's question.
Thank you. Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. The Ward 2 councilor just said most of what I was going to say. The thing I'll add to it is, if you already are in a zone that has resident parking, you have a resident parking pass. The idea behind this is there are people who are on the border areas or in some of the in-between zones where they have a lot of parking issues, but they don't have resident parking themselves, but they're close to an area that does. What they have done by kind of unofficially over the last many years has been they will give those people a temporary pass when they have a demonstrated need, and this just formalizes the process and allows up to 25 in those cases. So those would be people who don't live in a place where there's resident parking or temporary resident parking, and would let those. And in years past, a handful of people have needed that, but so by having this a formal program, it basically puts a bow on it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. Very quickly, and it is advertised to everyone in the city that these passes are available, so it's not limited to Ward 2 only. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion on Councilor Madore's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem, the City Council, September 13, 2018, ordered that residents at the following addresses required to purchase parking passes at either the Museum Place Garage or South Harbor Garage shall be granted a temporary 1-month parking pass, allowing them to park upon any street, granted temporary resident-only parking status between October 1st and October 31st, either by order or by ordinance. A list of the 7 streets, these are the different condos. 7 Carnby Street, Bluestone condos. Anybody want to waive the reading?
Waive the reading.
Sure, waive the reading.
Thank you. And I move to
Adoption?
Refer this to the Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs.
Okay. And I'm sorry, did you just say co-poster?
Do you want to co-post this? Sure.
Co-posted.
Okay.
Oh, did she? Okay.
Yeah, co-post it.
I'm sorry, I missed it.
Date certain.
Okay, any further discussion?
As soon as I figure it out, yeah.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Medora's motion that this matter be moved to the council, to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Medora.
This is Brown Street.
Yes. Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem, the year 2018, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic. Chapter 42, Section 10, one-way street. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Chapter 42, Section 10, one-way streets is hereby amended by adding the following. Brown Street from opposite number 2 Brown Street to Washington Square West, one way in an easterly direction. Washington Square North from number 19.5 Washington Square North to number 2 Brown Street, one way in a southwesterly direction. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter, and I move for adoption.
For first passage?
For first passage, yes.
Councilor Medora moves for adoption by first passage under discussion.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. This is just making the ordinance of the circulation around the code and statute outside of the Witch Museum permanent. We heard from a lot of residents in the area that this is a much improved configuration around the statue. So we would like to see it permanent and get it painted ASAP. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Sargent.
We did have a very good meeting about this, and I had my reservations, but I've come to somewhat of a compromise on this. One of the committee recommendations that night was that Brown Street leaving would be 2 dedicated lanes, one to go left and one to go right. And I would like to see if possible, we can add that to the end of in an easterly direction. There shall be 2 dedicated exit lanes on that one way. The one way shall be 2 lanes, one left lane and one right lane, so that people can get out of there and take a left. And I said, I was talked about by the city engineer, people at the meeting, as something we were going to do. I thought it was already going to be painted.
Seconded.
With this order, we could do that. Brown Street, one way shall be 2 dedicated lanes, one left and one right.
And it has the width. The engineer said it has the width to do that?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay.
It has to go in the one way.
Yeah, easterly
Okay, so this
In
is
an easterly direction.
one-way Brown Streets from one way in an easterly direction, so to say 2 lanes?
Yep, that one
Do you
way.
have the language?
Just say that, in an easterly direction.
2 dedicated
Brown
With a
Street.
dedicated left turn lane, or a dedicated left turn lane and a dedicated left,
Yeah, you
right
can't-
turn lane?
You can't go straight.
Left
so
and right.
It has to be 2 lanes,
2 dedicated
two
turn
dedicated
lanes.
turn lanes, one left and one right,
Okay, so
Well,
with 2 dedicated turn lanes?
for the length of the one way. Because the rest of Brown Street is 2-way.
Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. I don't mind that it's in there as an amendment, but it's not really, other than the direction which we set by ordinance, that's really something that's determined by the city engineer as going through it. So we're kind of trying to do his job for him. They had already said that they would be able to mark that, and they had planned to do so once we made this official. So I guess it's not an issue, but it's kind of superfluous to try to put that specification in the ordinance, because their intention is in fact to do that. They will be repainting and restriping as part of it to allow that 2 lane, but they were waiting for us to make it permanent before they were going to make those changes.
Thank you.
So I don't think that amending it is necessary. I think it's like another case where we're overthinking it. But, you know, if that's what everybody wants to do, then we'll do it.
Okay, Councilor Madore, is your hand up?
Yeah.
Yes, your hand is
Yes.
up? Okay, so Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. To echo the Ward 5 councilor's comments, I did check with the traffic and parking director, and he said it's not necessary to add that because we are simply making the one way around the statue itself permanent. And the added lane is in fact going to be painted, but it's necessary for us to make the one-way directions permanent, and that's the most important piece. So I'm okay with either
Thank you.
adding it or not. So
Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. I just, I know it's redundant, but it's been a contentious process changing that both sides, 2 lanes to one way, and this was a compromise, and I just want to make sure it's in there. And I believe we have every right to do it. We, as City Council, we control the city sidewalks and streets. For instance, leaving Collins and East Collins Street used to be a dedicated right turn lane up towards Webb Street. That was just taken out, and I believe that should have came before the City Council when a lane of traffic was taken out. So, that being said, thank you.
Okay, so should we take a vote on the amendment and then vote? Okay, so on the amendment by Councilor Sargent, seconded by Councilor Dibble, that we include the language under where it says Brown Street one-way streets from opposite to Brown Street to Washington Square West one way in an easterly direction with 2 dedicated turn lanes. That's the amendment. So
Thank you.
all those in favor of the amendment? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't count right now. 6.
What is the number hand?
There's 4 of you.
7.
Oh, 5.
5, okay.
6, 7. Okay. So all those opposed? Matter carries. So as amended. So on Council Madore's motion for adoption for first passage as amended, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Council Madore.
that's the last one. Okay. Wait, the reading. Wait, the reading.
Okay. Asked to waive the reading. Can she waive the reading? Will someone waive it?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
And move for adoption first passage.
Okay, this is regarding bus stops.
Yep.
Just at least.
You have to read the first part.
Yeah, just read
Ordinance
the,
amendment ordinance.
Yeah, just read the.
City of Salem, the year 2018, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 11, bus stops. Okay, the reading.
Okay,
the rest of that first.
so waived.
Section 2,
56.
Chapter 42. Oh. okay. Section 2, Chapter 42, Section 56. Parking meter zones established be amended by repealing the following.
Waive the reading.
Thank you. And I move for
Section
adoption. What is in section? This order shall take effect as provided by city charter.
Excellent. And you move for adoption for first passage?
Moves for adoption, first passage.
Council Madore moves for adoption for first passage under discussion.
Yes, so section 1, the bus stop, moving the bus stop further up Washington Street. The intention here is to alleviate the backup that the bus actually creates at the bus stop itself. Let's see, the bus is trying to turn into traffic and backs up the cars all the way into Riley Plaza sometimes. So after discussion in the Parking and Traffic Commission, they felt that was a good idea. And the next one, I believe that is to correct. Yeah, so this was something we needed to repeal earlier. this is, moving the bus stop does not result in parking loss, and I can't hear you. Yeah, so I think it's just changing the parking zones as a result of moving the bus stops. It doesn't result in any parking loss. That's okay.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Council Madore's motion for adoption for first passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Did you vote for your own motion? Excellent, it carries. For the further motions, orders, and resolutions, Council Madore?
No.
No? Oh no, we just finished. Oh my God. It's over. It's over. I just thought that I'd ask for more from you. It was a test, and you passed the test. So, further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Turiel.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem, year 2018, ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 57A, parking time limited unmetered zones. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Chapter 42, Section 57A, parking time limited unmetered zones is hereby amended by repealing the following. Loring Avenue, parking time limited unmetered zones, southeasterly side beginning at point 40 feet north of College Drive and continuing to the intersection Linden Street and the marked crosswalk, excluding the existing marked bus stops and handicap zones. 15-minute parking only tow zone, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. or by special permit only issued by the Horace Mann Laboratory School, and inserting in place thereof, Loring Avenue, parking time limited unmetered zones, southeasterly side beginning at point of 40 feet north of College Drive and continuing to the intersection of Linden Street and the marked crosswalk, excluding existing marked bus stops and handicap zones. 4-hour parking is marked by signs Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter, and I move for adoption for first passage.
Councilor Turiel moves for adoption for first passage under discussion.
Thank you. Briefly, this is something that, this is actually across the street from my ward in the Ward 7 Councilor Zone. It happened to start its path through the process by coming to me because it was a question about the area itself, and that was when the good Ward 7 Councilor was enjoying himself in Martha's Vineyard. So, whereas I had done my trip several weeks prior to that. So,
vacation together?
Anyhow, so it wound up going through me, but this is mainly this mainly affects Councilor Dibble. The reason for this is because with the Horace Mann School leaving and moving to the new location, the former Bowditch building, the parking what we had put in place to handle Horace Mann pickup and drop off is no longer needed. And so on the Ward 7 Councilor's suggestion, they are normalizing it to fit in with the rest of the parking, for that area. So it is now going to resume being under regular parking rules.
Thank you. Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to thank the good Ward 5 Councilor for reading that long issue. 100% of this matter is in Ward 7, as he said. This is an existing parking situation that I was thankful for the entire council, worked with the administration, and we came up with a unique plan to accommodate the Horace Mann School while it was on Loring Avenue. They're gone now, over to the Bowditch School, as we all know. And this is in keeping with the exact same parking changes that we just made further down Loring Avenue. So this will help with the neighborhood, it will help with the university, and it will help turn the spaces over rather than let a dorm student park on that section of Loring Avenue for a week long. They'll have to turn it over. So I am in support of this as written, and I'd encourage us all to pass it. And again, I'd like to thank the Ward 5 Councilor for coming to visit Ward 7 on this one.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'm going to say Councilor Turiel and Councilor Dibble's motion that this be adopted for first passage. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor McCarthy.
No. Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem in the year 2018, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 11, tour bus stops. Be it ordered the City Council, City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Section 42, Section 11, tour buses is hereby amended by repealing the following: Congress Street Bridge bus stops and replacing with Congress Street Bridge bus stops in Section 2, Chapter 42, Section 11, tour bus stops, amending and adding the following: Congress Street bus stop, inbound northerly direction for a distance of 50 feet and beginning 86 feet from the intersection of PB Street, tour bus parking only tow zones. Section 3 of this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter.
Move for
Move for
adoption.
adoption.
For first passage.
Yeah, okay, first passage.
Councilor McCarthy moves for adoption for first passage. Under discussion.
Briefly, this is just a way of trying to clear, I mean, we're going to have tour buses. We just want to make them try to flow better, work better, and be able to move in and out of the spaces better. This is just an attempt to try to make that happen as from what's happened in years past.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor McCarthy's motion for adoption for first passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Are there any other motions, orders, and resolutions? Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President.
Surprise.
Last one, I promise. Late file. Should I read it? Yeah.
You gotta read it.
City of Salem City Council, September 13, 2018 order, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to Chapter 42, Section 17A, Schedule of Fines relative to Section 75, fines for resident sticker parking during the month of October. And move for late file.
And since it's late file, it has to go to OLA. So you move that this be moved to ordinance licenses and legal affairs.
I move for this to be referred to the subcommittee on ordinances, licenses, and legal affairs.
Co-posted?
Co-posted.
With the committee of the whole. On Council Madore's motion that this be referred to the Committee on Ordinance, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Committee reports. Council McCarthy.
It's going to be calming. Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem and City Council, September
13.
13.
No, I'm trying to see which, I get it right, okay. September 13, 2018, the Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs, to whom is referred the matter of a taxi operator hearing request for J.L. Pena is considered to matter and recommend denial. No discussion.
No. Okay, so on acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. On adoption of the recommendation, Council McCarthy already said under discussion. I don't think there can be really any other discussion. It's personal. On Council McCarthy's motion to adopt the recommendation, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further committee reports. Council McCarthy.
This one. The City of Salem and City Council, September 13, 2018, the Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs, co-posted the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of waiving the City Ordinance, Chapter 24, Section 18, circuses and carnivals prohibited within Raleigh Plaza to enable fiesta shows to hold a carnival in Raleigh Plaza from 10/19 through 11 to what? 18? No, that's wrong. Yeah, 11/2. Oh, that's a cleanup after this. Has considered said matter and would recommend a negative recommendation, denial, coming out of committee.
Okay. On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. On adoption of the recommendation, any discussion?
Briefly, we had a meeting and a lot of people voiced a lot of concerns. A lot of it has already been said tonight. Raleigh Plaza was under consideration, as were a whole bunch of other spots. The mayor brought this one forth first, and as Council Sargent alluded to, it would have been more of a carnival ride trying to get there through traffic than it would be to be on some of the rides at some point. So we decided to deny that idea.
Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I think the Ward 1 councilor might be able to answer this question. It's something I mentioned earlier. Is there a mechanism that we can allow the kiddie carnival that's been down there for 2 decades or so to go forward? And this might be it right here, whereas instead of a full carnival, apologies, this is Riley Plaza.
Yep.
Madam President, you enjoyed that one too much. I still think that we need to find a mechanism to allow the kiddie carnival to go forward in the Salem Common, because it's been done really well for a good number of years successfully. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm going to not support the recommendation simply because I think we need to consider all options on the table at this point, because in the spirit of trying to find an alternative site for the carnival, I think we should include it, and echoing the Ward 7 councilor, yes, we Street needs to find a way for the kiddie carnival to happen, so, thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Council McCarthy's motion to adopt the recommendation, all those in favor? All those opposed? Opposed. Matter carries. Okay, on the bottom of page 18, further committee reports, Council McCarthy. This is 289 Derby Street.
I get you. I'm with you. City of Salem City Council, September 13, 2018. The Committee on Ordinance License Legal Affairs co-host the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of amending an order declaring Lot 2, 289 Derby Street as surplus, and to further convey Lot 2 to the Salem Redevelopment Authority has considered this matter and recommend this matter remain in committee.
Okay, on acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. On adoption of the recommendation, any discussion?
Briefly, we had a meeting. There a lot of discussion. There was a couple of questions that wanted to get answered before we refer this out to the full council. But basically, the SRA is a tool of the city that allows us flexibility when we look at different types of property that the city owns. I could go through the list of different things that we utilize the SRAs to when we look at. But when specifically when it comes to this property along Derby Street, if the whole parcel as a whole gets declared, once we do the work to it and it gets finalized and all the payments are made out, then because we use grant money, then it falls under park protection. So therefore, there's a whole laundry list of things you have to do in order to. But this way, by this one tract of land closest to the buildings, if we convey that over to the SRA, it gives us a lot more flexibility in order with permitting, design, build out. It just gives us a lot more flexibility and uses a development tool. I don't want to go, if anyone who's interested can come to the next committee meeting, but we'll try to answer some of these questions and try to move this forward.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Communications from city officials.
We have an ordinance introduced by the city solicitor in the year 2018, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to Green Lawn Cemetery, section, chapter 16, section 68, form of deed for sale of new lots is hereby amended by adding the following immediately after the last sentence in the 5th paragraph.
Councilor McCarthy. Oh, sorry. Did you want to say?
Waive the reading,
Thank you.
please.
Waive
Thank
the
you.
reading.
I was talking to Madam President.
Yes, Councilor McCarthy.
I would move that this matter be referred to the Committee on License Orders and Legal Affairs.
Alrighty. Co-posting?
Co-posted.
Since it's been my ward?
I was talking to the city solicitor about a whole bunch of other things. We didn't really have a chance to talk about this one. I think it's a simple amendment of language. I think that we can just take this up at the meeting prior to our next meeting, because the committee did yeoman's work today in clearing up claims today. So there's not a lot of claims left in our committee, so I want to commend them for doing that. So we have the flexibility to take up some issues, and we'll take this up prior to the next meeting, because I think it's just about making the language right for if it's coming from the city solicitor, I'm sure it's proper, but I didn't have the opportunity to talk to her, so my motion will be referred to committee, then we'll bring it out at the next meeting.
Can you co-post it, please?
Sure.
Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Council McCarthy's motion that this be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Petitions.
Petition from National Grid to install a conduit on Dodge Street.
Oh, hearing ordered September 27th, 2018.
We have petition from...
Petition, sorry.
Petition from New Singular Wireless, DBA AT&T for grant of location for telecommunications wires at a non-city owned pole located 250 Highland Ave, and to install conduits or direct buried cables.
Hearing ordered September 27th, 2018. Further petitions.
We have a petition from AT&T for grant of location for telecommunications on an existing non-city owned pole located 31 Simon Street, and to install conduits or direct buried cables.
Hearing ordered September 27th, 2018. Further petitions.
We have a petition from AT&T for grant of location for telecommunications on an existing non-city owned pole located at 27 Liberty Hill Ave, and to install conduits or direct buried cables.
Hearing ordered September 27th, 2018. Further petitions.
We have a communication from Dejo Silva, owner of Boston Street Resale, located at 134.5 Boston Street, to inform the City Council that the ownership of the secondhand clothing store has changed to Maria Silva, but the store name has remained the same.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this matter be received and placed on file.
Council McCarthy moves that this be received and placed on file. No further discussion. Seeing none. On Council McCarthy's motion that this be received and placed on file, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have a request from the residents of Winter Street to hold a block party on September 15th, 2018, from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. with a rain date of September 22nd, 2018.
Councilman Dorr.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for this to be granted.
Councilman Dorr moves that this be granted. Under discussion.
No discussion.
Seeing no discussion. Councilor Sargent.
I just have a question as to what part of Winter Street, because I'm hoping it's down by the statue by the Common, because we can't block Route 1A. So is that the little...
Councilman Dorr.
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, I should have clarified that the street that's going to be blocked off is actually behind the property on Oliver Street. This has been a block party that they've held in previous years, and because the resident who applied for this lives at 24 Winter Street, their backyard actually looks into Oliver Street, so that's where the party is actually happening. And I spoke with the applicant today to make sure he knows some of the concerns that he needs to be aware of in terms of fire, safety access, and noise, and yeah.
It's on Oliver Street.
It's on Oliver Street.
Okay, so that's perfect.
Any further discussion? Seeing none. On Councilman Dorr's motion that this be granted, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have a request from Friends of the North Shore Education Consortium to hold a road race, Fastivious 5K for Autism, and use of city streets on December 9th, 2018.
Councilor Chair.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this be granted.
Councilor Chair moves that this be granted. Under discussion.
Briefly, Madam President, this has been held for a number of years now. I believe this is the 7th year. It's a terrific event. It's raised around $50,000 at this point so far since they started doing it. It draws a good amount, several hundred runners in a season in which normally everybody has hidden back inside and is running on their treadmills. And it doesn't go to the Willows. So it's one of those things that checks all the boxes for a good event. You know, really well run. I've participated in it every year since start. If my knees be willing, I'll do it again. Last year I ran it with at the time, I ran it very slowly with at the time Councilor-elect Medor's husband, and between he and I, we carried her son, so, because he was making the run a little bit more challenging. So I'm looking forward to it. It's a really good event that's done every year, so I move for that be granted.
Thank you. And this is the race that I usually smoke you on, right?
Not usually, pretty much always.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to check. I couldn't remember. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Terriel's motion that this be granted, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have the following list of license applications for limousine, taxi cab, public guides, taxi operators, and vehicle for hire operators.
Waive the reading.
Councilor McCarthy.
I wanted to hear it. I move
Do you
that
want to live?
No.
I mean,
Move to be granted.
Councilor McCarthy moves that this be granted. Any discussion?
No discussion.
Seeing no discussion on Councilor McCarthy's motion that this be granted, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
Okay, before we do that,
Yes.
could I go back and address an issue?
Yes.
Only because I was clearing out the paperwork on my desk.
Okay.
Relative to the order for Congress Street.
Order for Congress Street.
The bus
Was-
parking? The tour bus
The
parking?
bus stop, yep.
I just want an amendment to the last section, only because I was clearing up my paperwork on my desk, and the paperwork that came back from the police department, they approve everything, but relative to the new bus spot on Congress Street that was added, it's in section 2, I believe.
Okay.
The recommendation from the police department that be seasonal, because they don't feel that additional bus spot is needed outside the Halloween season,
because it would just take up a bunch of parking spaces that would be available to the residents. So the recommendation is that the section 2 would be seasonal tour bus park.
Okay, so,
What's the dates?
I guess just a procedural question to the city clerk. So do we have to vote to go back, or can we just go
Move
back?
to reconsider, or?
I move to reconsider.
Okay, so,
Council
It does
Turtle is
really
correct.
okay, so Council McCarthy moves to reconsider the
The hope
bus
that it does
stops on,
prevail.
the ordinance
does
of bus stops
prevail.
on
Yes.
Congress Street. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. We're reconsidering it. Okay, so now with the added language that, section
The
2.
section 2, relative to the additional spot that was added, that it be seasonal.
Okay, so as amended,
Put dates.
correct?
Yeah, I meant to have the dates.
The police department didn't add the dates, so seasonal, I would assume it would be out,
Summer, fall, do we?
well, we're adding it for the Halloween season, so I don't think there's a big desire, so I would go
October 1st.
October 1st to October,
Maybe November
Or
2nd.
to
November 2nd, just to cover it.
Okay, so as amended.
I'll second it.
Okay, seconded by Councilor Turiel. So Councilor McCarthy's motion to adopt this for first passage as amended, seconded by Councilor Turiel, with the seasonal, the section 2 on Congress Street bus stop be seasonal between October 1st and November 2nd.
Correct.
Correct, okay, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries.
Now, I move that we go back. to where we
Okay, so
were.
now we go back to the regularly scheduled
And I thank the
portion.
council for their indulgence. It was my
Yes.
fault because the paperwork kind of got all messed up and I was clearing it up and I
Okay, well
missed
then
it.
let's get through all the rest of the stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so petitions.
We have the following license applications for 3 tag days.
Council McCarthy.
I move that they be referred to the Committee on License Order Legal Affairs. I'm sorry. I move that this matter be referred to the Committee on License Orders and Legal Affairs.
Council McCarthy moves that this be referred to the Committee on Ordinance, Licenses, and Legal Affairs. No discussion.
No discussion.
On Council McCarthy's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have the following 6 claims.
Not cleared out of those claims.
Just cleared them all
Council
out.
McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that these matters be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs.
Council McCarthy moves that these be referred to the Committee on Ordinance, Licenses, and Legal Affairs. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have the following grain layer contract operator license for EKP equipment.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that be granted.
Council McCarthy moves that this be granted. Seeing no discussion on Council McCarthy's motion that this be granted, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have the following drain layer bond for EKP equipment.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs and returned approved.
Council McCarthy moves that this be referred to the Committee on Ordinance, Licenses, and Legal Affairs and returned approved. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Unfinished business, none. Councilor Fury.
Motion
Sorry, Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. I wouldn't do this except it's a very important thing has happened. I read today where General Albert Herzig has passed away, Salem's most decorated war hero in his 90s from Florida. You know, his obituary could fill a whole page in the news with his accolades and his medals and things that he earned in wartime in World War II and Vietnam. And he's been featured on the History Channel under talking about the Battle of the Bulge, where he was very active in it. He was a tank commander that his division led our troops, General Patton's troops, through Europe. So it's just incredible what he did, and that's why the tank is at Memorial Park. And I believe his most accomplished thing was saving the people that were stranded at Bastogne. They were in Paris, and he took his troops without refueling, put everything they could put fuel in and put it inside the tank, on top of the tank, and drove without stopping to Bastogne to relieve those guys. And on a TV show I saw where his tank was actually hit by a shell at the turn, and he should have exploded, should have killed him. and he turned and saw it, and it was just laying there a dud. And he, of course, thanked the good Lord for that. So just quite a man, accomplished in college sports, Salem High sports, and, the world scene. Not just a Salem hero, but an American hero and so many people owe their freedom to a man like him, just a guy from Derby Street in Salem, very humble man too. So I just want to recognize his passing and maybe take a moment of silence for him when everybody gets done talking.
Thank you. Councilor
And of course, I had the
Furey,
pleasure of
Councilor
sitting
McCarthy.
next to him when we dedicated the tank at Memorial Park. I got goosebumps. He was the point person to Patton. Patton got all the credit. Headline saying Patton goes through into Germany and crosses the Elbe and into D-Day and after D-Day and the Battle of Vosges. But it was he, our own General Herzog, who was raised down at the old power plant, before the power plant, the old power plant. He remembers playing baseball as a young man. His brother was in the service. Underneath him, his brother was the decorated war veteran too. In their hundreds. And you call it the greatest generation. That is the greatest generation. They served their country so well. And I got goosebumps, but just sitting next to him. And it was like, to be in that tank, to serve in that tank, was like being in a microwave. There's so little room in that tank if you examine it down in the willows. It's like cringing room. You'd have to have their feet on top of the other soldier in the tank to give them signals to go right or left. We take it for granted in our car, go right or left. In a tank like that, they had a man on top of another man with his feet on top of the shoulder saying, left, right. Old-fashioned tank, amazing. He survived that situation. Nice to honor him. I had the pleasure of meeting him. We gave him a Citizens Award that day, and afterwards, the amazing gentleman. He retired down in Florida most of his life. He lived down in Florida for most of his life. So, indeed, it's a sad passing, the city of Salem. He's the greatest generation. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor McCarthy.
Briefly, Madam President, I just want to echo all the comments. He was, anyone who's seen any of the television shows or read up on him, he's just a, unbelievable human being. And anyone who's interested, the tank actually, fittingly, has just been refurbished. So anyone who's been down in Memorial Park, I know I saw the at-large council, he stopped in when they were doing it. They've been working at it the last couple of weekends, and the tank looks fabulous. I guess it's just they gave it a fresh coat of paint and spiffed it all up, and then I guess the general decided it was time for him to move on. But it's a fitting tribute to him and to a guy that's the council alluded, grew up on Derby Street, just an average person who just rose to did great things, and was probably, I never had the pleasure of meeting him, but you could just tell from everything that he's read and seen, he was a very humble man and didn't, and just went about his job and did so many great things and never wanted any of the accolades. And one thing that we as a city did for him was to dedicate that section of the park to him in the tank. And I think it's only fitting that anyone who wants to see it, my kids are little, they used to climb all over that thing, and it's and people to this day still do, but it's just been given a total rehab, fresh coat of paint. It looks spectacular as far as tanks goes, and I encourage anyone to go down there. It's just to pay tribute to the man, because I think it's only fitting.
Thank you. Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I had the privilege of knowing the good general, and he was, you said it correctly, the good Ward 1 councilor did. He was a humble man. For all that he's done for this planet, not just this country, and he was not looking for any accolades or anything. He just wanted to do his job. A really special guy, and he's Salem's hero. And I wasn't aware of this, but I thank the good at-large council sergeant for bringing this to our attention tonight. It's absolutely worthy of recognizing this veteran, and in fact all veterans, but here tonight, this one veteran, because he is really a Salem hero, and we should give him a proper moment of silence. Thank you, Madam President.
Why don't we all rise for a moment of silence in memory of General Ersak?
Thank you, Madam President.
And I apologize, Councilor McCarthy, for when I threatened your life if you wanted to hear all the claims. I just wanted to mention that because I know that I get a little punchy.
Well, it's
And I joke.
hours late, we're
It's-
all a little
it's-
punchy.
It's 3.5 hours later.
Yes,
So, but just so
I
everyone
didn't
knows
take it that way, don't worry about it.
Okay, good. So, on that.
Motion to
Counselor-
adjourn, Madam President?
Counselor Fury has motion to adjourn. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.